these experts, and they say they went there on the because he keep on telling us that these experts just came from Dubai and he found them there already at State House looking for jobs.
Government has to has to introduce austerity measures. It's something that this government and the previous ones have not been able to do in this country. We've talked about it so many times.
And really, I think you have seen the modus operandi of William Samoei Ruto since he came in. It's just showbiz.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Members of parliament, they go to State House, they just promised they get given tea, mandazi, and 100,000. That's not development.
External borrowing, 589 billion. Are we on the same page? What did Parliament pass?
If anything happened to our president today, God forbid, that man would become president. Na ndio alilenga hizo stories za Shakahola.
The real thing is our constitution has only one person who is accountable to us.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
I am also a publicly elected official. Okay. My salary is paid by your taxes.
Yes.
So if you need me to answer questions, we will not run away from you.
Asante
We will always be here.
The government itself is engaging in corrupt practices. That the government itself deliberately schemes to influence through bribery members of parliament.
You pay for a passport online. Alafu you're told there are no booklets.
I rebuke matters corruption because corruption has brought this country to its knees.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Imagine, it's already what? It's already Wednesday. We're already in the middle of the week. And at 11 minutes after 6 on this 20th day. What? It was just the 14th. It's the 20th of May, and we're already getting into it proper. There are 11 days left in the month of May, and before you know it, you're into June, and then it's winter here, and then, Merry Christmas. In case you were wondering, and then Happy 2027. That's how fast it's going. We just said Happy New Year a few clicks ago, and here we are already getting into the very last part of the second quarter May of the year 2026. And we're doing it anyway because time waits for no man and we get moving. Sindo, walking with your coffee cup. Good morning, Dennis Aseto. Me, Niko Paul.
Check it.
I was just moving along.
Yeah.
Wewe uko salama?
Nashukuru.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nikutumia message jana.
Nikarespond. Okay. Bado nangoja response yako.
Okay, sawa. Inakuja. It's in the mail.
You wanted to out me? Surprise.
Bado hauja nini funga tai?
Imagine.
Acha tuulize Evelyn nakuja kusaidie.
Na Evelyn, kuja nisaidie kufunga tai.
Kwa tunaomba usaidizi hapa, hatujamaliza kuvaa.
Yeah, let me just do it.
Okay, so
you're well?
I'm okay. I'm good. Sasa umeshafanya half the work. I need to learn how to tie a tie from the very beginning.
Okay.
My dad tried to teach me. That flopped. Because I knew at some point in my life in the future I would need it. I don't know when that is, but okay.
It's not a difficult thing, actually.
Loop over the pass through and then carry over.
It actually depends with what knot you want to tie. So do you want to go French? Do you want to go English?
The tie, bwana. The tie is even speaking languages.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes. Do you want it with the dimple?
The tie with the dimple?
Yeah.
Well, you think it's just a tie being tied. Kumbe it has a dimple and it has
do you want it
stretch
straight?
Marks.
Do you want it straight? You said stretch marks.
How did you decide, boy?
Yeah, no, that's a completely okay.
Okay, very good, very nice.
See.
Gotta love a man in a suit.
Yeah.
Yes, sawa, uko sawa. Confused.
Salama Salmini, yes.
Okay, very good.
Yes.
Good to see you, Karibu-san.
That's complete now.
I was just telling people it's the 20th of May.
Yeah.
And with the year is already over. Merry Christmas. Happy birthday.
By the way. Yeah, because we're done with Easter.
Yeah,
we're done with the 4th. We're almost 4th of July.
Yeah.
But then once you get to 4th of July, that's it.
It's over.
That's it, yeah.
I'm telling you, before you know, Happy New Year 2027. Even nalienda hospitali yesterday. Because alikuwa doge hivi kidogo. And then alikuwa na hoba.
Okay.
Yeah, but she's okay. Then today, Joyline is even singing a song. So, better days ahead,
Better days, eh?
Indeed. 6:15. This is The Situation Room. It's Wednesday, hump day, getting into the rest of the week. And we're going to talk about a number of things today. Sawa. Now that we've established that everybody's okay, we know that our live streams are up on YouTube, Facebook, and on X. And our audience on KTN, a very good morning to you. With all due respect, the strike is over, at least for 7 days. The jury is still out on whether 7 days from yesterday we'll have a situation where folks are comfortable and then they go back to the streets. I don't know. There's a lot of conjecture flying in and out of the window in terms of what exactly happened to get that deal. And is it going to be better for Kenyans? And now with that deal, does that mean that there's no longer any pain at the pump? So let's see how the days come by. Now, even while those things were happening, it was very clear that there are very many continued undertones of what's happening in the country and the dissatisfaction that people feel, or that if people feel that they're happy about a particular thing, or there's a particular political narrative that they're trying to push, all of that came out. And whatever part of the country it is that you are coming from, people then did make their voices known. Boniface Mwangi is going to join us at 7 o'clock for a conversation around about this. That can activism still push through particular issues that, the country faces? We know that he is a presidential aspirant. But at the same time has always been in the game when it concerns, the voice of the people and how that will be heard. So he joins us this morning at 7 o'clock. We'll be talking about public transport, the shutdown, and the human cost. 4 people were killed.
Yep.
One of them, interestingly enough, was run over by a police vehicle on the Nairobi-Nakuru highway. Run over.
It would not be the first time because it has happened before.
Yeah.
Police running citizens, presidents, entourage doing that, Duale's entourage doing the same. We never see justice delivered. But sad that we keep on seeing these things happening every other day.
Unfortunately.
We never learn, no?
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it happened. We're going to talk about the cost of that with Boniface. The Roots Party leader is one Professor George Wajakoya. He will join us at 8 o'clock. We're going to be looking at transit talks. Is Kenya ready for a real public transport system? Of course, we're going to look a little bit political with him, but we've talked about it for the last couple of days. It's become crazily apparent. So, it was obvious to a lot of people. Kenya doesn't have a public system.
No, we have
public transport system.
A private system offering public services.
Yes, public service. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you have individuals who will buy a bus, be part of a SACCO, and then form routes whereby they will offer transport services to the public.
Yeah.
It is not a public system set up by the government. Is Kenya Bus?
Kenya Bus used to, because I'm meant to understand, correct me if I'm wrong, we used to have Nyayo Bus. Nyayo Bus back in the days, which then I think morphed up to be Kenya Bus. And then I think Kenya Bus was taken over by, I think, Asako. I think Kenya Bus is Asako.
It's now Asako. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So that's the conversation in terms of what we'll be talking about today, because there is a proposal for that actually to be enacted. So
we're late.
Abio.
We're late.
Because when we talk about public systems, whether you look at Dubai, London, Paris, the metro, the train, Singapore
Italy, where the president was, Azerbaijan, where he is,
the metro, whether it's underground or it's
tram.
It's the tram over the road, whichever, that is run and operated by government, and that you're able to pay minimal fees to then be able to have transport all the time. That you don't have to use your vehicle to get into the city. And if you don't have a vehicle, it doesn't matter either way because it works. We'll be talking about that with Wajakoya at 8 o'clock. And then our last conversation for this morning is with Eric Omondi. Eric Omondi is a community mobilizer and defender. We know this. Activism for change, representing the Mwananchi's voice. That the Mwananchi's voice still is coming through this. He'll join us at 9 o'clock for us to look into really where are we with that. We saw him we've not seen him, at least in the room since he did the walk to Mombasa to raise some money. But then also in this continues to have his voice out saying, come on, we can't do this. He also spoke about the high fuel prices. So he's coming from the voice of the people, whereby it's not about you in a boardroom with transport industry stakeholders. It's the people who still probably have to fork out a couple of extra shillings to get from point A to point B.
Let me tell you, whatever happened yesterday, I think that's the most nonsensical move that ever happened. There is no way you're telling me that you're lowering price of diesel by 10 shillings, but in the same statement add 38 shillings to kerosene for those who would be seen to be vulnerable, because you've added 38 shillings to what it is they're consuming every day. They're still going back to use the matatus with increased fares. So what exactly have you done? Who have you assisted in this equation?
That's the question. And I'm interested to know today. Because you and I and a lot of people in the studio at this hour come in really early. So there's a different arrangement for us to come in. But I'm interested to know this morning, as people are getting, because then we know a few matatus were on the road yesterday, a few more buses were on the road yesterday after the strike was called, but called off. And then some people but I'm interested to know whether people are having to still pay the high fares to get where they're going. So maybe you can let us know what is going on if you've used a matatu or you've used a bus or public service vehicle, and if the fares are actually higher. Let's talk about that at some point today. We'll probably have an opportunity to do that when we talk with Eric. Okay, so that's what it looks like this morning. Karibu Sana, thank you for joining us, and we can see that you're coming into the room. Where? Sema, remember I told you how my tooth was removed?
Yes.
So I think I forgot that the area is still tender. Sema, I was brushing my teeth and the toothbrush, boss, I cried like a baby.
Ole.
But so if I'm talking like a grandma today, it's because I'm trying to, whatever.
If I manage to go to one of my places where I buy toothbrush, they have like really tender brush with very beautiful bristles. I think I'll get you one.
I think it's necessary.
Kesho asubuhi.
It's necessary.
Akinikumbushe, but I'll pass by that.
Nitakukumbusha leo.
Yes.
Asubuhi sasa utakuwa wapi?
Asinisema nikumbushe leo so that
bas. All right. Got it. Yeah. Sawa? All right. Gabon.
Yes. I think we'll just go straight.
Okay.
No matter how long the log stays in water, it never becomes a crocodile.
Sindio? No matter what you do, if it's not, it's not. It can scare you. It can give you nightmares. It can make you think that it's something. But if it is not, it is not. Boss, it can apply to everything. Take it for what it is, my friend. Take it for what it is. In life, in whatever it is that you do, take it for what it is. And especially once you realize that you can will something to be, you can dream something to be, but if you don't get up and do it, that thing is not going to magically form into something else. Even if it gives you the impression that it is, it is not. It's not.
you can never hide someone's or something's true nature. Mafuta imepanda imepa. Upunguze shilingi 10 uongeze shilingi 38 bado umepandi bas. Alafu hapo unasema sha.
Oh, sorry.
Rap.
Oh. Tumeanza mapema.
Because what was that? Nduh,
yes.
Show me in that entire fuel the conversation. Where is the decrease of fuel?
Tick tock.
There is none.
There's none. Even if it looks like a crocodile, excuse me, it's not.
It's not.
Even if it looks like a reduction or that looks like some kind of reprieve.
But it's an increase.
It's not a crocodile.
No.
Crocodilo. It's not. Sour. So it doesn't matter however you try to slice it. It's not. But that's why I was asking the question that this morning, out of the miracles that have been done in a boardroom yesterday, are we going to see that folks are getting where they're going with lower prices? Comb me. I heard that the other day and I was like, so jazzed. Okay. So we're greeting you guys this morning. Thank you for tuning in. Kiaria Peters tuning from Mombasa. The good you put into the world has a way of finding its way back to you when you least expect it. Sindio? Okay. Rogers Nyange is tuning in this morning from Birikani in Voi. And Robert Mbogo is tuning from Mombasa this morning. And a very good morning to you. John Murethi says, good morning. Now you're talking to each other. Okay. Okay, maybe you need to have that conversation on your own, but I think it's good words coming in from Peter this morning. But John Moravia, good morning anyway. Good morning, Spice fam. Locked and tuned in. Young Jedi is tuned in this morning. Karibu Sana, and thank you for joining us in the room. Joseph Okondo says, good morning, Spice team. Tuned in from Tudor in Mombasa. Kimi Yak says, at least we have something to smile about because we are champions of English football. Well, congratulations, Arsenal. I never thought I'd say the words, but yeah, congratulations, Arsenal, because we know that City Boys lost last night. But still, here in Kenya, nothing good will come out of the Kenya Cons administration. Kimi Yak, okay. Good morning, man. Well, congratulations to us. To you guys. Well done. Well done.
You must know.
Of course. Well, all right. I don't think anybody's going to hear the last of it, that's for sure. Dr. Fico says, good morning from Mumias. The weatherman is promising El Nino rains in June. As usual, our leadership awaits last-minute uncoordinated responses to disasters. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. The little boy is going to be here. The little Spanish boy will be here in June. It's also going to be the same month where the temperatures are going to drop significantly. It'll be cold, it'll be wet, it'll be rainy. Are you ready? It'll be flooding. Are you ready for it? Are you ready? Again, we saw the governor appear again after picking up 2 pieces of garbage. We saw him yesterday. Yeah. It's like the Loch Ness Monster. You're not quite sure if they're there, but they're there.
I work.
Oh, wow. Hey, shocking. Jamil says, good morning, Spice. A lot that's happening in the country is very disappointing, and I don't see a reason why they don't halt the taxes on fuel. Sindio?
Yeah.
Even as we're asking, even temporarily, to get things moving. This is a good point. Wanda, good morning. Nduh and Aseto tuning from Toronto. Allow me to congratulate Aseto, myself, and all the Gunners on Arsenal's historic Premier League championship win. God is good. Sindio?
Kapsa.
What is it, 70 plus years? Well done, guys. I'll be how many?
Good,
something like that. Well done. I have to say, where it's due, congratulations. Boba Coco says, good morning, Team Spice, Nduh and Dennis, listening all the way from Kendube, with all due respect. Well done.
Kendube dalawa, kanya soro dalawa. Ay, Kendube yawa topo.
That has taken you back.
Man.
We're not going to ask the details, but all right. Tibbs Muge says, good morning, Spice team. Eric Awar says, good morning, guys. Baba Three Girls, with all due respect, good morning, Nduh and Deno. Well, good morning to you. Nahashan Gugi says, good morning, Princess Nduh, Dennis. Good morning. Hope the PSVs won't increase the prices since they agreed to continue talking to resolve these gas prices. Love from Arizona. Yeah, and that's my question this morning, because you could get into a public service vehicle this morning and they tell you, what happy? You're Nyako.
You know, guys, let's just be honest. Diesel was increased by 46
shillings.
It was reduced by 10 shillings. Yes. It's still an increase.
232 shillings.
They added fuel for diesel for 38 shillings, guys. That's where we are. There's no reduction. Let's face it.
And I honestly don't see PSVs reducing the cost of fare, the fare cost. So that's what I'm saying this morning. Unless a miracle has happened, it's likely that those numbers are going to still be high. But let's hear from you this morning, Tafadhali. Mark Mwangi says, good morning. With all due respect, Arsenal, merci beaucoup. Good morning from Kigali, says Michael Olande. Glad that you're here and I hope you're doing well. Smart Homes has just said Arsenal. Tunafaa kuelewa hiyo ni salamu. All right. Tuned in from Moi International Airport, Dr. Venvik. Good morning. Where are you going? Jennifer Ateni, good morning. Nduh, Aseto on Spice team. He Manda. And what is the role of Murkomen in this fuel thing? You know, I was also wondering. I thought that he seems to have been, was he the spokesman for the negotiation? Was he in the negotiation? Last I checked, and that was on Monday, he was the CS Internal National Security.
Yeah.
Internal Security and National Administration. Abiao.
I was actually hoping, after saying that the protests were being pushed by the opposition, he would have told us, like, based off investigations, that A, B, C, D were the ones who were pushing this agenda, and the police who killed individuals have been interdicted and will have their day in court.
See, I thought that's what he was coming to tell us about the security angle of all of this. Meanwhile, those 14 people that they said were on the run outside the country, have they found them? I'm just asking. That was something that you told us a little bit a while ago and said that, you know, they were on the run. They've left the country. The people who attacked Senator Osotsiama. Yeah. You've not found them? That's an internal security issue, Ama. I'm just asking. I'm just what? I'm just asking.
Experts.
So Jennifer, your question has raised other questions because we were also wondering the same thing. But whomst are we? Mark Mwangi says the notion that the citizenry doesn't give a hoot about police welfare was nullified yesterday. I hope they can earn the respect according to the defense forces. Let me tell you, Kenyans, you guys make me happy. Kenyans went and said, excuse me, release this man. What is it?
What did he do?
What did he do? Because he said that people who have been brought here as there's no threshold to hold them and release them on his own recognizance, let them go, and then you now say even you now will arrest you because you don't play ball. Come on. Kenyan said, just so that you understand, it's not police that we have an issue with, it's impunity. So we're also saying, excuse me, let the man go. With all due respect, because this is nonsense. Yep. I hope police actually understand that as well.
That's why you say, clock it.
Bas. I hope they get it, that Kenyans actually are there fighting for Kenyans. And you are Kenyans as well. So here is another situation. It's all playing out, but Kenyans, well done. Well done. Dr. Fico says, good morning from Mumias. Yes, we see you, sir. Also saying a good morning from Mashari and Njeri, tuned in. Nduh and Dennis, majority of Kenyan political class are say this. Allah. You're watching from Portland in Oregon. Okay. Sadistic moves, you've seen them left and right. Understood. A very good morning to you, Linda Gola. How are you? Bonjour. Kenya Bus came before Nyayo Bus. Okay. Kenya Bus was such an efficient service back then. I hear that it would be on the money on the minute. If your bus was for 12:10, the bus was there at 12:10. And if it was dropping you a particular route and said you were going to be there in 20 minutes, you were there in 20 minutes. That's what we're talking about. But anyway, let's look into that conversation with Wachakoya at 8. Wanda says something to hold on to. When you hit rock bottom, the only way is up, meaning better days are on the way. Absolutely. Let me tell you, rock bottom has no basement. Can't go lower. Okay, so the only way is up. Benjamin echoing those words, saying there was Kenya Bus first, Nyayo Bus came later. Okay. Sarah Abat says, good morning. Uswa. Uswa. Something. Yo, what does that mean? Okay.
Uswa.
Oh. Okay. David Mangera says, good morning, Team Spice. Situation room. Manda. Standing Ashes says, good morning. Arsenal fans are on holiday and the school unrest season is seemingly here. Yeah, there seems to be still a lot of rumbling in schools at the moment in terms of, it's mock season and the exams are coming up, but it doesn't look pretty at the moment. So that needs to be nipped in the bud. But I think this one is already flowering. I think the bud passed a minute ago. It needs to be paid some attention to. That's for sure. My Prince says public transport is too important to be left to be private. By now, the government ought to have realized this. Good morning. Exactly what Dennis is saying. Isakali says, good morning. Excuse me. Nduh and Aseto, what was in your coffee today? Shh. What happens in the coffee stays in the coffee.
Sugarless.
What happens in the coffee stays in the what?
In the coffee.
In the coffee. Good morning, Isa. And Geko, he says, good morning, tuned in from Naru Moro. Hey, good morning to you. Henry Kerongo says, good morning from Embu. And Okello says, the government has shifted our focus from the finance bill. Kabisa, everything else was happening with the finance bill is there. What is the genesis of our goons problem? It's not the same police that are working alongside the goons in Nairobi. This is Matthew, a question that he's asking. The last 4 days, every day I've heard a goon situation. From Saturday to Sunday. Saturday when Karinyamo was supposed to be somewhere here.
Yeah.
Charimoyo doing something, goons were attacking people. Then Monday, goons again. People could not get home even with the chaos because goons are just sitting like hyenas waiting to attack. There's a problem here. And to think that folks are sponsoring them is
moving around with them.
Very sad. Very sad. John is saying, Leo, Aseto atatusumbua sana.
Why?
Do you Arsenal?
Arsenal. No, you see, this is what happens, right? We're humble even in our wins.
Oh, that statement right there is the least humble of anything ever. Stop it. What?
Because what are you going to do? We're winners.
You see? Yeah. Humble. Mwangi, good morning. We see you. How are you all this morning? So all Kenyans, poleni for the drama the government and Matatu owners passed us through. Property, life and injuries, citizens lost indeed. Pole sana. Mtuflani says, good morning to our princess, Shut Up and the squad. Nairobi new chafu. What is Sakaja smoking in that hole he hides in? Woo-wee. But you saw him picking up garbage the other day. Hi, Jatosha. Jazarni says, good morning, wonderful day back to work. Aki, the holiday was too short. Anyway, paid the normal fare as usual along Thika Road. I hope they keep it up. Okay. All right, that's great. Hey, Calvin Mirindo says, good morning, Nduh, my love. Hey, even Damali Nduh tumefika. All right, good morning to you. Karibu sana, Calvins, and welcome into the room this morning. Vintage Oak says, Murkomen's outbursts are juvenile and parochial. Woo, two big adjectives in one sentence. Okay, we see you.
Apo kwa parochial.
Baba Girl said, what the government did to the price of fuel is similar to the affordable housing saga. Who's fooling who? Deduct money for building, start building on public land. Sell the houses to anybody who will buy. Sultan Hamoud is where Simon Kibiru is tuning from this morning and says, have a nice one. Rose Grace, good morning, my sister. Greeting Nduh and Aseto. And a very good morning to everybody. Karibuni sana. Thank you for joining us in the room today. We'll take a minute to do that. And as we get into the room, and anybody who comes in later, thank you for joining. Let's have these conversations today and talk about the things that matter, that will move the needle in one way or another. Sawa. Let's do it. All right, we're going to take a quick one to look at then the situation of the roads this morning. Likely to be slightly different from the last couple of days. And then we'll look at traffic. I beg your pardon. We'll look at weather as well. Come back and look into the headlines. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with SpiceFM.
Mostly cloudy conditions in Nairobi at 24. At 15, we'll see a high of 24. And it's sunny at 14 in Nakuru and cloudy at 15 in Njeri. 19 and sunny conditions in Kisumu with a high of 28. And we'll see a high of 28 as well in a sunny Kakamega at 17. It's mostly sunny at 24 in Mombasa. And it's cloudy at 26 into Malindi. Cloudy conditions at 19 into Marsabit. And we're looking into a cloudy Kampala at 20. And Dar es Salaam this morning is sunny at 23. Mostly clear at 7 in Johannesburg, and we'll see a high of 18. It's clear at 27 after the rains at night in Lagos with a high of 31, and it's mostly cloudy at 13 in London, 22 and cloudy into Beijing, and partly cloudy at 29 in New York.
Chilled Spice.
Sugar and spices, everything nice. SpiceFM.
Spice up your life. Traffic.
Yep, and there we see it. Traffic is already starting on the Thika Superhighway this morning. I guess that means that a lot of folks are out and about and getting where they need to go. And it's coming towards the Pangani underpass, so that's really busy as you then try to get towards Muranga Road and then into the CBD. Traffic coming off of Muthaiga, right around Muthaiga Square there, and then in from Kiambu Road. So that's busy right about now. It's also picking up on Gong Road as you get into the CBD. And we're seeing traffic also starting to build on Mombasa Road heading out as well. North Airport Road, busy. Beehive of activity in and outbound as you go towards Mbakasi. And then come out in this direction as well. Jogo Road, busy. And we're looking at traffic coming in from Njeri on Kangundo Road and touching on Outer Ring. So that is already doing the business this morning. In a few clicks, Nairobi, at least, is really back to business. We'll keep an eye on things as we get into traffic hour and also take a spot check around the country. Let's talk. Keep this moving. SpiceFM, KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
Online, mobile, and on radio. Twitter at SpiceFM KE.
This May, unlock endless drama every single day on StarTimes. Unrivaled stories, characters you can't forget. Recharge your monthly subscription today. More love and burning romance on Come Back to Me. Heartbreaking betrayals on Just Revenge on Novella E+. More secrets on The Brave on ST Swahili. More twists that leave you breathless on Gangs of Manila Season 3 on Novella E. Now on Nyota Bouquet on Ariel and Nova Bouquet on Dish. The drama never stops. To renew your subscription, dial *858# for self-service or get in touch with our call center on 0719-077-077 for customer care. Buy a StarTimes decoder at any of our dealer shops countrywide. Download the StarTimes On app to enjoy all your favorite shows and stream live channels on the move. StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
A walking nation at 21 minutes to 7 o'clock is what is on the front page of Kenya's bold newspaper, The Standard, as the president keeps flying. Nothing stands in the way of the President William Ruto's taste for the finer things in life. Not citizens forced to trek for kilometers as they try to eke out a living, and not even relatives mourning loved ones shot by police during the two-day Matatu protests. As he flies in private jets and cruises in the latest Mercedes-Benz, Governor Johnson Sakaja has been designated as a trustee to talks with transport sector players on the fuel price negotiations, while the cabinet secretaries lurch from one blunder to another, and Deputy President Kithure Kindiki appears adrift amid unfolding developments. Where? This is covered today on page 2, or rather on page 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, and 10. I mean, the pictures are there. The walking nation. People walked where they needed to go while the transport services were down, of course, because of the high cost of fuel. And the president, 3.2 million shillings an hour. Try to fathom that. Is the estimated taxpayer cost of the private jet, and this is according to globalcharter.com. So it's not innuendo, or it's you can download this information. It's public knowledge. And these guys, the way their system works is that when they fly, it's on the radar. They will say that this is the person that they carried and this is how they went about it. So it's public knowledge. It's not hidden. And we'll talk about something else that was hidden that the high courts have now said you have to make public. So this is the thing, and it doesn't paint a very good picture. Not sure how deep this story is, but from the optics.
So the president has been in Azerbaijan so far, let's just use 2 days, that is 76.8 mil. Wow.
Yeah. Ama is ile ya wacha ni pande nitakulipa baadaye. Is that kind of ama?
Abana mimi sitaki kulipa deni. Yeye alipe tu.
Mimi nauliza tu.
Does this but why?
Just asking. I don't I can't even get upset over it. I can't be upset because I don't have the bandwidth right now. There's a lot of things that need attention, but it doesn't paint a good picture at all.
No, it doesn't.
And that somebody then can just take those two pictures and put them side by side. And then even if you're being negative or positive or whatever, emotional, as the FCPA John Mbadi said, whatever the case may be, the optics don't look good in this case. And we know that all of this is about optics, number one. So if people have to walk to where they're going to then be able to get money to feed their children that day, and what you're basically showing is that, well, a little bit busy at the moment, and you guys can keep walking. I'm going to be flying, and even that flying, I'm not going to use the most affordable
means.
I'll use the expensive one. While that's happening, Page 2 talks about fear of more TB cases from drinking dens after 2 deaths. Sasa, okay. More family members could be infected as county government drags its feet. Screening is expected to pick up after Matatu strike was called off. Screening and testing of tuberculosis among Changa consumers and other locals in Shipalo village, Kakamega, was delayed amid fears that more people could already be infected. What is happening in these dens, first of all? Munakunywa nini and munakunywa aje? What did you share that? What? It's not sanitary. How? It's
because TB can also.
Ew.
TB can also just be spread by being in close vicinity to people who, right?
It's past.
And then
it's error like that word they use.
Yeah, so couple that together with the fact that maybe as well people are sharing tumblers.
Ew, stop it. Just don't even stop it. Ugh, don't drink changa, first of all. But I know that's really sounds like such a bougie elitist thing to say. But honestly speaking, if you must drink the thing, I mean, here we are and the situation in there doesn't look good. It's a highly contagious disease, TB. And the treatment for TB is 3 to 6 months. It's not 7 days of an antibiotic, guys. It's 3 to 6 months. And after that, you're not even assured that you'll be fine. It's this persistent, consistent cough.
And it's painful.
And it's highly contagious. So the likelihood of anybody else who was in that place, who then went home and spread it to their family members,
who went to school, and
scary.
Because I've just seen here in Changadens, men share cups and bottles.
Do you see now?
Yep.
The Bureau of Statistics finally is to conduct its first census on TVET institutions and to tell us exactly what's going on in terms of the numbers. The question on page 3, did they have to die? Kin of fuel protest victims demand justice. And of course, there's Kennedy Kaunda, who is with all due respect man, who, without all due respect, was smiling yesterday. Excuse me. And quite interestingly so. Ruto's jet-set lifestyle sparks fury as hustlers suffer on the ground, literally suffer on the ground, walking to where they need to go. And hustlers pay heavy price for transport chaos. The hustlers that were darlings of the election in 2022 are now the ones that you need to read the secret lives of Babasegi's wives. Because when you have used one wife, you throw her to the corner when you find a fine wife who is younger and more supple and her breasts are standing high. Now the hustlers who were told that you're going to ride on the election, where are they today? Innocent lives lost as police bullets, chaos, fuel price hike, protests. PSV's strike disrupts healthcare. Patients walk to hospital. Is this not what we said on Monday?
Yep.
They walk to hospital. Let that stay emblazoned in our minds as patient walks to hospital. Behind the scenes, betrayal and how strike was suspended. We'll share that story with you because suddenly now everybody's smiling. Where on Monday night they were frowning. Okay. And of course, you can look into the opinion pages in the Standard today, get a copy of the Standard today, or subscribe to the Standard e-paper and have the news in the pocket wherever you go. All right, sir, over to you.
As to the Daily Nation, how state can lower fuel prices. So that is just a breakdown on what the state can do to see the fuel prices go down. Now, heavy taxation has worsened matters at a time global prices have skyrocketed due to US-Israel war on Iran. Now, experts, fuel crisis exposes CSs, and this says Ministers John Badi and Nduh joined the government as experts to support a regime under threat from a GenZ uprising in 2024. But the fuel crisis and this week's transport strike have exposed their vulnerabilities. So one asks the question, expert in what? Now, there is, in court orders a destruction of drugs vessel, now Iranian vessel, and methamphetamine valued at 8.2 billion shillings will be destroyed over fears of security breaches, corruption, theft, and possible infiltration by cartels.
Hey, God
Gotta love this country. So, and then we have Ebola deaths in DRC hits 131 as virus spreads. Kenya is on high alert after a case was reported in Uganda. So, border patrol units as well, just ensuring that Kenya is safe. And Kenya draws South Africa in 2027 AFCON qualifiers. Harambee Stars coach Benny McCarthy will reunite with his home nation South Africa, but stand on the opposite side in the 2027 AFCON qualifiers. So, we wait for that duel, which will be taking place in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya as well, taking on South Africa, with Ben McCarthy going against his home team. Now, a woman who quit business for family wins half of excess assets.
Woman who did what?
Who quit business for family wins half of excess asset.
Yep.
So, I left work to take care of the family. So, we're working our separate ways. Half of it. Yeah. Now, court orders destruction of vessel that we've just gone through as well. So that is on pages 3 and 4. Have gone deeper on those two stories as well. And we have states limited option as it seeks to lower fuel prices within 7 days. Now, the government appears reluctant to further cut taxes on fuel, even as subsidy kitty runs low on funds. So your story as Kusaba looks as if it's just story. New story. Yeah. So we have the exposed, how the ministers have been exposed, the experts. Now businesses count losses after strike. That seems to be a Kenyan phenomenon. Whenever we have protests in the country, businesses close. We have those who take advantage of the same and go about looting businesses. And I think as Kenyans as well, inabidi tujite mkutano with regard to our protest and how to deal with goons or those who take advantage of these. Now, heavy toll of strike on businesses and daily life. We see children here walking to school, buses packed, drivers sleeping, security apparatus as well, just ensuring security is provided there. And experts discuss tax policy at symposia. So experts discuss tax policy at a symposium. This was in a certain hotel somewhere. Transporters call off strike to allow further talks that will happen in 7 days. That's what we have on the Daily Nation.
You know, I'm just again chuffed by the resilience of Kenyans. I think it was it Bungoma or Nakuru? I can't remember. But the terminus, the bus terminus, they turned it into an athletics track.
Yeah.
And the Matatu operators and touts now started racing 100 meters, 200 meters against themselves. And I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
Kenyans actually want you to do better. Kenyans actually just want you to do even the basic minimum, and they're happy. You know, so they will always find something to be hopeful about, but don't treat them like they don't matter.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I saw as well police officers yesterday arrested some, I think, Matatu operators who were playing football in Nakuru.
Yeah.
I just wanted to understand what they'll be charged for.
I don't know. You're supposed to be protesting. Why are you playing football? Or what?
Oh, what exactly? You're playing football not in a football pitch, but in a Matatu stage. Okay, fine. What exactly did I do? Who did I obstruct from going about their business?
I don't know. I don't. On the front page of the Star this morning, Matatu operators call off boycott as state seeks way out. And of course, a picture tells 1,000 words here. There's fire on the right, and there's a handshake on the left, and there's walking people at the bottom. Now, this story is a lot bigger than we're actually saying. That there's people who went to court, and I believe one of them was Wajiro Gikonyo. And they said, you know what? This hiding of the SGR contracts should not be the case. We need to know what exactly Kenya got into. Dorcas Oduor, who is the Attorney General, had been saying, you know, our prayer is that we don't need to. The Court of Appeal said, excuse me, open the server. Open.
Expose it.
People need to know. And this is a public project. The record must be public. So the Court of Appeal has said, excuse me, I don't have time for this nonsense. Make it public.
President Ruto promised to give us this contract. Kipchumba Murkomen was
stouting about that he had some document.
Yes. But if it was written in Chinese, We know Kenyans who've studied Mandarin.
They can translate
it.
Even if there's no one in Kenya that can translate. China, if there's a flight, somebody can check the document. Do you understand?
ChatGPT can do a good thing. We will fix the errors somewhere.
Very good, thank you. Court of Appeal has pronounced itself here and said, stop the rubbish. Make it public and let's keep the thing moving. Stop it. This plight of people in the Middle East, guys, it's been going on for too long for not enough to be said about it.
Yeah.
That, I mean, it can't be that, oh, well, we have agencies, we don't have agencies, we have people, we have a system. No, that a mother is now telling the story of how her child has suffered while trying to work. Something has got to be done about this, because let me tell you something. It is not only Africans who go to work in the Gulf countries, that there are other countries who go to work there, but they have a register of their people and they know. The after African nations, the highest percentage of people who send people to work in the Gulf countries is the Philippines.
Yes.
Tell me why you don't hear this story every day about the Philippines. And I know it goes into ideologies like racism and things like that in the Gulf nations. However, what is it that countries like the Philippines have done to ensure that people who go to look for work as au pairs or house managers or things like that are not treated in the same way? What is it that Africans we cannot do? You see, my brow is already starting to furrow. It's not even 7 o'clock.
Every parent or any family that sends their child to work in the Middle East is always on the edge.
Yeah.
This is usually the message. Please go be safe and let us know in case of anything.
And please make sure you come back home.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Imagine. That's how you send your child.
It's been happening for too long. Well, I mean, what is the problem? Honestly, and I know that what is wrong? Why is it almost like a death trap? And for those that it's not a death trap, you're walking on eggshells, living on the edge all the time because you're looking for a job that's paying you what? Come on. It's happening. It's been happening for too long. And it's to varying degrees, of course, but I mean, for too long.
Yeah. And I think it's even deeper because if you look at like the comparison just given, the Philippines who do the same job as compared to Kenyans who are there, you look at the load of work and even pay. The staggering difference is something to talk about as well.
Honestly,
so it's a conversation that the world needs to start having. Kenyan government needs to start having these difficult conversations. I mean, yeah.
Meanwhile, India is also turning to Kenya for Africa growth strategy. Nikama, Kenya is the place to be.
Okay.
Or at least, say, Kenya, how can we do it together? So that's happening. So Ruto tough options is what we're being told today. Reduce fuel taxes, slow developments. Okay, those are the two options.
Development has never been fast.
But I'm still a bit upset with FCPA John Buddy, who told us that if they want to remove taxes from RMLF, that means that we will no longer fix roads. But their roads are not being fixed.
They're not being fixed.
You want me to start talking about Enterprise Road?
Let's talk about it.
How many, as I guess, I remember, can't forget the guy who said, mimi nilizaliwa nikiendesha baba yangu akiendesha gari. I was sitting in the front seat. I have gone to school. I have graduated from university. Niko karibu kuse, will you marry me? And that road
has never been finished. So which slow development are you talking about? Because we're not seeing any. All I know is we took some money from that kitty and gave it to the French who are here taking Africa forward.
Yeah, but then you're going to pay them back their 7 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, people should just leave us alone. Sometimes you just get tired.
Yeah.
Kenyan passengers are face enhanced Ebola security scrutiny at U.S. airports. Look, I say, I think that you should be screened. I think so. I think anybody should be screened.
Yeah.
Lawmaker sues state over floods along Tana. Farmers in Garissa may finally get relief after ODM-nominated MP Umul Khair Harun filed a lawsuit at the High Court in Garissa over constant floods that have swept away crops and devastated livelihoods. Now, people may ask, excuse me, floods don't come, rain does. Yes. Floods happen as a result of rain water contained in areas where there is no offlow. Sawa?
Yes.
All right. the MP has listed, guess who expert? Energy and Petroleum Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi, Energy Principal Secretary, the Kenya Electrification Generating Company, and the Water Resource Authority, and the Attorney General.
Yeah.
The lawmaker said, as a representative of the people, she took the step of going to court to defend and fight for the rights of people after floods from dams upstream caused untold suffering, including loss of life.
Yeah.
She says, and I quote in her court papers, year in, year out, farmers and entire communities have suffered immense losses of money, property, livestock, and livelihoods due to the constant release of excess water from the overflow of Masinga Dam. Okay. She claimed the responsible ministry often gives only 3 to 4 days notice for people to move to higher ground, which is impossible. Yeah, you can imagine, pack up your stuff and go in 3 to 4 days. Just doesn't sound like something that can be done. So she's saying, no, guys, we can do better. So how about we take you to court so you can do better?
I don't know how true this is. Engineers can confirm if it's possible. Because I was having a conversation with someone who said, if we know that Masinga Dam is full, right? Can we further downstream construct another dam for offloading, so that we go and fill that up so that the overflow is not as intense because we have controlled it?
You know what I think? I think oftentimes we say that it's the experts who understand and and I think that sometimes there is a solution in simplicity.
Yeah.
Some of these things are actually pretty simple, but we want to see you have a committee, round table of experts, stakeholders, and I don't know, commission of inquiry to then do, I don't know what, to go to whichever country we go to benchmark. Meanwhile, the thing is flooding there.
Yeah.
And I think that there's simple solutions to complicated problems that would actually sort out the thing. And you don't have to deal with miles and miles of legislation and I don't know what. Sort out the thing real quick, you can do it. It's actually possible for it to be done. I think we wrap it up in too much bureaucracy sometimes.
Harun, please go to court.
Abi?
Your people deserve to live well. And if it's the government that is causing the pain, the government must pay.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not focusing on it, then there's a problem.
Yeah.
All right, of course, we still look at the road to East Africa, AFCON 2027. We saw the groups have already been called.
Yeah.
Let me just read quickly for you the groups. Group A, Morocco, Gabon, Niger, Lesotho. Group B, Egypt, Angola, Malawi, South Sudan. Group C, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, the Gambia, Somalia. Group D, where Kenya is, South Africa, Guinea, Kenya, and Eritrea. Group E, DR Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Sierra Leone. Group F, Burkina Faso, Benin, Mauritania, Central African Republic. Group G, Cameroon, Comoros, Namibia, Congo, Brazzaville. Group H, Tunisia, Uganda, Libya, Botswana. Group I, Algeria, Zambia, Togo, Burundi. Group J, Senegal, Mozambique, Sudan, Ethiopia. Group K, Mali, Cape Verde, Rwanda, Liberia. Group L, Nigeria, Madagascar, Tanzania, and Guinea-Bissau. AFCON 2027, that's what it looks like. Good morning, 7 a.m.
What's up your life? The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is the news. I'm Sheila Tembor. Families of those killed during Monday's protest over rising fuel prices are demanding justice as more details emerge about the victims. In Dagoretti, South Nairobi, the family of 32-year-old George Njuguna is mourning after he was shot dead during the demonstrations. His widow Grace Njeri said the family was informed that George had been shot in the chest and died shortly afterwards. She maintained that he was not involved in the protest and was simply going about his daily activities. In Githurai, 44 relatives of Joseph Kiarie says he was allegedly shot while returning home after paying his son's school fees. The family claims the attackers were in a vehicle without registration plates.
He was very happy. Talikuwa na ni massage saying that maybe to be twins. He will never see his father. Hata kama I will find justice, he will not bring my husband back.
Sasa venye alipata kumeharibika, akipidua pikipiki ndio arudi, ndio alishutiwa hapa kwa kifua.
Akapatana na vurugu hapo. Sasa kwa kwenda kupidua pikipiki, sasa akapatana na hiyo gari. Na hiyo gari ilikuwa numberless. Madam mwenye alikuwa nyuma alimshuta hapa mara mbili.
At Kenyatta National Hospital, Dennis Kwayumba is mourning his wife Prudence Imali, who died from gunshot wounds after she was allegedly attacked in the Roysambu area while leaving a shop. The victims also include Derek Peter Mashanje, a student at Sigalagala Polytechnic in Bungoma County, who was reportedly shot during the protest. Meanwhile, several injured survivors remained in hospital. Among them is Valerie Amondi, who is receiving treatment in the ICU at Kenyatta National Hospital after a bullet lodged in her thigh.
Then she was given a first aid, then later rushed to Kenyatta Hospital, which till now bado hajatolewa the bullet bado kwa mguu.
So we are asking the Ministry of Interior to rein in on these bloodthirsty police officers, because it is evident now that their mission was to kill.
Human rights group Vocal Africa says at least 12 people died during Monday's protest, and sad evidence collected suggests some of the shootings were carried out at close range, raising concerns over the use of excessive force. Transport activities have resumed in various parts of the country after workers in the sector called off their strike, which had disrupted public transport and business operations. Matatus and other PSVs have returned to the roads, bringing relief to commuters after days of disruption. Speaking after a meeting with stakeholders in the transport sector, Energy CS Opiyo Wandayi said the government will continue taking measures to reduce fuel prices.
Following the skyrocketing of petroleum product prices, has taken very, very deliberate measures. On the matter of subsidy alone, between last month and this month, those two pricing cycles, the government has applied some 13.9 billion shillings to manage the cost of these petroleum products. Last night's reduction by 10 shillings on the cost of diesel per litre alone.
And a petitioner has moved to the High Court seeking to overturn the appointment of Adan Mohammed as Commissioner General of the KRA, citing alleged violations of constitutional and public service retirement regulations. In court documents, Petitioner Bernard Opere argues that Mohammed is above the mandatory retirement age of 60 for public offices under the Public Service Commission regulations of 2020. Opere says publicly available records shows Mohammed was born in December 1963, making him about 62 years old and therefore ineligible for the position. The petitioner further claims the appointment is illegal and unconstitutional, arguing it breaches provisions on integrity, accountability and professionalism in public service. He also contends that the appointment violates the Public Service Commission Act and undermines the rule of law by disregarding statutory retirement requirements. Opera is seeking conservatory orders to bar Mohammed from assuming office pending the hearing and determination of the case. And that's the news. I'm Sheila Timur.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Every time he kept on saying he wants a vibrant opposition.
How does it make sense that public money has been used already and then they dare to sell it back to you? Why they're not giving them for free?
That's how broken we are. That's how broken we are.
They are being sent home now for fees. They're going to fail to prepare. We are compromising the futures of these children.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Parliament has got powers. Let me break it down. The National Assembly can initiate an impeachment of the president.
This same
and the
National
Senate,
Assembly.
Yes.
That's our constitution.
Because this is just a continuation of the previous administration, which Ruto was part of. President Uhuru himself openly said that we're losing 2 billion daily. Daily. I mean, come on. Are you saying that we don't have a central bank?
If we look at Kenya, both public-private sector, that figure is ranging between 30 to 40%, right?
I think it's clear that the government of Kenya is living beyond its means.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Baba should disown these experts and they say they went there on the because he keep on telling us that these experts you came from Dubai and you found them they're already at State House looking for jobs.
Government has to has to introduce austerity measures. It's something that this government and the previous ones have not been able to do in this country. We've talked about it so many times.
And really, I think you have seen the modus operandi of William Samoei Ruto since he came in. It's just showbiz.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
You're tuning in. It's 8 minutes after 7 o'clock, and it is the 20th of May. And we're already getting into it, having conversations this morning. And thank you for being here. As every morning you are joining us to have conversations. I have money. Pesa mfukoni.
Yo.
Today it's not even mfukoni, it's on the table.
Yeah.
You might be wondering what I'm talking about. And,
only Podia's debt.
No, we are not paying Odia's debt. No.
It's the manifesto.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we're talking about. Freedom fighter, anti-corruption champion, human rights defender, GenZ presidential aspirant, Boniface Mwangi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
How are you doing?
Very good.
Kabisa. Yeah. Thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me.
You know, it's been 2 days of another drama, you know, and it was not just about fuel prices. Other things were coming into play.
Yeah.
We're going to talk around a lot of these things. And first of all, Dennis is going to share today's proverb. He'll tell you where we are. But I have to say congratulations. 19 years old, your son. It's not easy to get to that age, but well done.
Asante, I've cried a lot, actually. He went to college on Sunday night.
Oh, wow.
So he moved out.
Oh, my God.
Crying, yani. To study for another day.
Emptiness syndrome is upon you.
Yeah, man.
Soon.
He made me a father and then he just disappeared too soon.
Disappeared.
Yeah. Like he has left.
He's a man now. Well done.
Yeah, Asante.
Okay. Dennis?
We are in Gabon. So in Gabon, one thing that stands out is they have a natural nuclear reactor. Just natural.
Wow.
Yeah, so they exploit, and one would say he's the only country in the world that has that facility. But that notwithstanding as well, they are rich in oil, explore that, and use that to push the country's economy. But let's go to the proverb. No matter how long the log stays in water, it will never be a crocodile. How would you interpret it?
Wow. I think no matter what you clad yourself with, like no, the log is in the water. But even if the villager clocks or tries to jirembesha or cover themselves with expensive planes, a bigger state house, a bigger budget, he's still a villager.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're a log in the water, you're a log in the land. You'll never be a crocodile. So if you're incompetent, no matter how much money you spend on yourself, and no matter how much you fly around, and no matter how you say how cool I am, you're still incompetent.
I can't add anything. You know that log, when it's in the water or outside, bado ni kuni. Kuni utawasha tu moto.
And you know, actually, hata kuni moto waka.
Wow, okay. So the last couple of days, I mean...
sorry, and also, kuni shafts. Have you been shafted?
Of all people that it's good that you can invite humor in some of these things. It shows healing, I think, to an extent.
You know, yesterday was the day we were abducted in Tanzania, a year ago.
Yeah, 19th of May.
Yes.
Yeah. Shows healing, man.
A day at a time.
Yeah, a day at a time. You'll get there. Or rather get closer there, right?
True. Yeah.
And then here we are met with a situation that we knew from Friday that the country was going to be at a standstill. And these guys were not bluffing when they said we're going to shut it down because on the 15th, we knew that the prices were astronomical.
Yes.
And it was going to be crazy. And they said, we can't do this. Number one, we can't buy it at that price. Number two, the people that we ferry every day can't afford it because we're going to have to pass the cost to them.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that our vehicles are going to be empty. We're not going to be able to ferry anybody because people will not be able to afford it. And true to form, it happened on Monday and the country was shut down.
Yeah.
So beyond the cost of fuel, there seems to have been another cost. But how do we connect all of this and say, okay, well, whose fault is it? How can anybody? It's fuel prices are high. And that's the thing, Bonnie, that fuel prices are high.
Yeah.
The situation to get oil or to get fuel to countries is difficult. Can anybody be blamed? And we say at whose cost, at what cost?
So you blame the president. You can't be told there's going to be like a national strike and by the public transport vehicles, like the matatus are going to go on strike.
Mm-hmm.
And then you leave the country. That's not what you do. Because the backbone of this country is matatus. The government does not own public transport system. So we are relying on private people to transport people to work, transport goods, transport tourists, and it's the backbone of this nation. Then instead of you addressing that issue, leave the country. And then on Monday when there's a strike and people are protesting about the fuel price, you send your police to shoot people. Then that evening you do dog whistling. You say, why are you complaining? Why didn't you complain when Uhuru was president? So you're shifting the blame from you running the country and being responsible for what's happening to other people. So basically the entire government failed on that particular day.
Yeah.
And it also shows that as a country, we can't rely on matatus alone. The government needs to build light rails because if the government had a light rail system, at least half of the country would have worked. At least there could have been some form of transportation for people.
Yeah.
But on Monday and Tuesday, the country came to a standstill because private vehicles, because matatus are private vehicles.
Yes, they are.
They were parked at home. Yeah. And I remember, what's unfortunate actually, I remember when I was a young person, Kenya Bus Service, the government had a stake on that. So the government could actually have said, let's transport people with our vehicles. But the government has no vehicles anymore. There's even Nyayo Bus Service.
Yeah.
And so basically we have failed because letting the entire country depend on private vehicles is letting ourselves down and we're going to be held hostage again and again. However, the matatus had every right to strike. The fuel lands at maybe 100 shillings. The rest are levies. There are 7 levies and 2 taxes on every liter of fuel. It does not make sense. So the government is using this money because it's every day. Every day they're collecting billions from fuel levy because they think Kenya consumes about 500 million liters a day. So they're collecting fuel levies every day and they feel they can't live without that.
Yeah.
You know, Bonnie, the strike that happened in the country for those 2 days for me is deeper than just people not being able to go to work.
Yeah.
You know, if you read the papers today, we have those who were killed, who were shot by the police.
Yes.
We have those who lost their pay for the day.
Yes.
We have the sick who had to walk to hospitals. You know, there are those who are in ambulances who are unable to get to hospitals on time. You look at the cost of all this to human life and suffering in the country, and one asks the question, should the government take blame? Should the government then be able to pay back Kenyans who've lost all this?
So this government will not pay anyone for anything because they're not taking responsibility for what actually happened. There was a lot of shift blaming, I think. Blame shifting. The blame shifting. There was a lot of blame shifting on Monday by Murkomen's press conference. But let's take it back a bit. They knew the strike was coming, and they failed to do anything about it. And then on Monday, the police did what they do all the time and what we complain about. They sent armed police to shoot people, and they shot 4 people, injured 30 others. And they'll say they were looters, but there's no connection between killing people and the people who are looting. Then the other thing that bothers me, that every time they kill people, they say those people are sent by politicians. But the government never arrests the politicians who actually sent those people. Now, let's park that. There are people who depend on kerosene to cook.
Yes.
They can't afford to cook. So you have to worry, you have to think, like, I'm going to buy less food so I can afford, so that I can be able to afford the fuel to cook that food. Then there are people who depend on Mujengo. They couldn't go to work. The entire economy was messed. Then instead of the government coming and saying, actually, how do we move forward? How do we fix this? They start politicizing the issue. And then it took another ethnic angle. They're trying to say that Matatus are run by Kikuyus. Because we're saying when Uhuru was president, Kikuyus were not going on strike. This country is big. The people running Matatus in Western or Mombasa or Pokot, they're not Kikuyus. So they're trying to tribalize this issue to make it look like it's Kikuyus fighting the president. It's Kenyans, they're not fighting the president. Kenyans are saying, we can't afford to eat. We can't afford to live. We can't afford bus fare. We can't afford to survive in this economy because it's too expensive. And fuel is everything. Because fuel determines if you're going to eat, or if you're going to walk to work, or if you have no work. Basically. That's it. So if you don't fix the fuel price, the economy is going to collapse.
Indeed.
Yeah.
The deputy president is not in Baku. Is not in Kazakhstan. Deputy president is in Kenya. One would imagine that Kenyans voted in the presidency, which comprises of the president and the deputy president. Should we not have heard a word? Because if anything we didn't hear the honking of vehicles on the streets on Monday or Tuesday. We didn't hear this, but we did hear a very loud silence that came from the presidency, which we cannot absolve the deputy president from. So why wouldn't we have heard his voice to speak up, or should he not have?
Kindiki is a prefect. He was not elected. He was appointed. And he speaks when the boss says you speak. So he doesn't have the words to say what he can't. He has nothing to say. I think the deputy president in this country is Murkomen. And helped by Sudi and Itumbi. Those are the ones running the country. Itumbi, Sudi, Murkomen. And then the likes of Kindiki are told, go there, say that, go there. So Kindiki has no powers. So that's why he's silent. And also, I think Kindiki is also understanding that when these things goes tribal, he gets affected because it becomes Mount Kenya politics. They're saying, oh, why didn't you strike? So Kindiki has to be very, very careful because in the coming months, people are going to defect. And so Kindiki is wondering, is he going to replace me with someone else from another region in this country? So Kindiki doesn't know what to say. Prefects have to speak when they're told, and when they can makers.
Now, Bonnie, we knew that the strike was coming. Any responsible government would have tried to have these discussions before the fact, because rightfully, if you listen to what many are saying, Kenya lost close to 3 billion shillings on day one, day two, that is around 6 billion shillings because people did not move. Yet a government that depends on these taxes did not do anything. They decided to react after the fact. But you also have to read that with previous statements that were made by President William Ruto while deputy president, when he was talking about fuel prices because of Ukraine war and all the levies that were there. With the president having done the complete opposite in terms of reducing fuel, we saw him increase from 8 to 16%. Should the president take responsibility for where the country finds itself today? That we lost 6 billion shillings because he lied to Kenyans. That Kenyans died because he lied to Kenyans. That we have children who did not go to school because he lied to Kenyans. Can he be removed from this conversation?
No, he cannot be removed. Actually, the backstops of the president, he's the one who actually promised cheaper fuel prices. He promised that as a country, we're going to diversify and have electric vehicles so that you don't rely on fuel.
That was Indeed, it was said,
And then he promised in his UDA manifesto a rail transit system in the entire Nairobi, which he has not built. So the backstops at him. You cannot actually have this conversation without actually saying the president is involved in that. And then he got us into a deal called G2G. And you agreed we're going to buy fuel at a flat price. And we agreed we're going to buy that fuel at that price, and there was no other thing about shocks or Ukraine or Iran war, nothing about that. And then, so when the price was low, we were paying much, much higher because we had a deal with we had a deal with people to provide us with fuel. However, when the war came, the price rose. But we're like, when the fuel was cheaper, Kenya was paying higher price than the entire region. Yeah. And even right now, Kenya is paying higher price for that fuel that comes through Kenya. The one that goes to Uganda, Sudan, passes through this country. Then they tell us, those countries don't have fuel. So these guys trying to maximize money from that. But there's also another possibility that the government of this country, led by Ruto, are charging fuel at a very higher price so they can collect money for campaigning. Because they're saying that between every 30 to 50 bob is going to Ruto's pockets. Because
Who's saying, Bonnie?
Yeah?
Who's saying?
It's been alleged by the people who are in the know.
Yeah.
Because of Starbucks. He owns Starbucks. And they have more, they're supplying fuel. And he has, I think he's the second or third biggest fuel supply in this country. So at the end of the day, the president is doing business with the government and collecting money so that he can be able to finance his campaign.
Should that be seen as conflict of interest?
It's conflict of interest.
It's been said that anyone who's in public sector should not do business with government. He's
running SHA like personal property. He's running avoidable housing as personal property. He has Amako insurance. There's so much conflict of interest in everything that is done in this country.
I mean, the jury's out on some of these things in terms of, when you go down the tunnel, who are you going to find at the end of it? But one of the things that came up from these issues over the last couple of days is that it was not just a fuel issue. Yeah. It was not just fuel prices going high that Kenyans were out complaining about. What it did is that it gave avenue for people to then vent their frustration. And had it not been, and I don't even know if it's been dealt with, but had it not been, as some fork in the road had not been created, that it was going to then give people an opportunity to vent out about every other thing that they were frustrated about. And one of those things is how people are being treated, at what cost. And you mentioned something about this. And I said this morning that the resilience of Kenyans is playing out here. And that the real heart of Kenyans is playing out, especially when you see that Kenyans go to where an OCS is being held and they say, excuse me, release this man, who for the longest time, one of the CSs has told us that Kenyans hate police and that police should actually be ready to shoot Kenyans if they move outside of a police station.
Yes.
Now, yesterday and the day before, we saw Kenyans go to fight for an OCS and say that because he released people who for there was no evidence charge that would be leveled against them, let them go. And because of that, he was then detained. Kenyans came out and said, this is the impunity that we are talking about that raises fuel prices, that makes SHA unusable and unworkable, that doesn't ensure that our children can go to school, is now holding an OCS who was just following the law.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about how there seems to be layers and layers of the frustration that, impunity breeds in this country?
So, that OCS, our addition was just innocent. We just caught up in Kenyan politics. So Murkomen has a press conference, says that 300 people arrested. Then he realizes some people are released because there's no offense that was committed. And so the OCS is actually blamed for releasing those people. And I think the government thinks that the more you arrest people, the more you deter them from protesting. Or the more you shoot people, the more you deter them from protesting. But Kenyans are tired. And what's going to happen, beyond the police will stop shooting people, the people will keep on protesting, and the pain they feel will be expressed not only on the ballot, the ballot is very, very far, but by them paralyzing this country. There is a frustration by the presidency and the government that they feel like the Kenyans don't like them. And it is not our business to like the government. It's our business to pay taxes and to be good citizens and to follow the law. But when the government treats us with contempt and then shows us madharau, we are going to fight back. And that fight back, we're going to fight for those people who used to oppress us but are now on our side. The police are seen as the enemy by the Kenyan people. It's true. But when you arrest a police officer who for once did not break the law but was fighting for Kenyans, they're going to fight for that guy. Yesterday, those citizens almost overran Langata Hospital. They said akona pingu, kama akona pingu atolewe. Amekula, kama hajakula tunapatia chakula. Tunataka kujua ako sawa. They had to bring a doctor outside to tell people that he's safe. And that's where we are at. That citizens have just said, you know what, we can't wait until 2027 to then send this government home or demand better. We're going to demand better now. And this anger is very, very timely, because in a month's time, we're going to commemorate the second anniversary of June 25th protests. So next month, another paralysis in the entire country, because the entire country is going to be marking the Mashujaa Day to remember the martyrs we lost 2 years ago. And so this government should be very ready for more strikes. And even next week, actually, if they do not reduce fuel price, the matatus are going to go back on strike, because they don't have passengers right now. This week they're going to go back to work, but people are walking to work. People are waking up at 5 a.m., 4 a.m. to walk to work because they can't afford to pay bus fare. So it's not that we hate this government, it's that this government does not understand the pain Kenyans are going through to survive, to eat, to just pay fees. You know, capitation is not there, everything is not working. And then on the flip side, the president is dining, he has banquets, he's flying around, he's not going to his office at Harambee House, he's just on top of a vehicle, and he does not address the cost of living. It's just politics. It's not helping anyone.
Bonnie, the Constitution says the power belongs to the people.
Yes.
And that the people shall exercise that right directly or through donation, or through the ballot. But here we have a situation where Kenyans are speaking and saying, it is expensive for us, man. We can't make it. We can't just do it. Matatu guys are saying, we want to offer this service, but you've made it so difficult for us to even meet our margins, pay our loans and all that. Yet to find a government that is hell-bent at fighting its people. We find a government that says, ukikuja tutapatana and I'm going to deal with you. And here we are finding Kenyans who are saying, fine, you will come, you will meet us because we understand that we have the power. What would it take for the government to reclaim the trust from Kenyans? What will it take for Kenyans to say, the government that is in power today is serving us? Amai, man.
This government is gone. There's nothing they can do now to save themselves. The level of arrogance they've had against us and how they've treated us, they cannot recover from that. You know, people will forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And these guys have made us feel like takataka, that we don't matter. There is no austerity measures. We say no, tighten our belts. Kenyans have tightened our belts, but the government is not doing that. There's spending at State House. He has spent more money in 2 years than Uhuru spent in 10 years. It doesn't make sense. So Kenyans are not blind to what this man is doing. They're not blind to his actions, his words, his behavior, and then the arrogance of his ministers. I don't even know who the transport minister is.
Davis Churchill.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the guy.
You weren't joking, okay.
I have no idea who he is. I'm like, what does he do? Because you negotiate well in advance, right? You say, how do we... And then you explain yourself. Let me tell you, if this government respected Kenyans, they would have actually come and explained why fuel is very expensive and why we have to tighten our belts and what they're going to do to ensure that those shocks are not felt by Kenyans alone, but even the government is cutting costs so that even us, if we are eating 2 square meals a day, if you're going to eat one, you know the government is not taking advantage of you. They are not doing that. And Kenyans have no problem paying taxes and those levies. But if that money was going towards education, healthcare, we'd actually understand that if SHA was working, if our kids had capitation in school, we would understand. But there's no money in schools, there's no money in healthcare, there's no money in roads, there's no money for anything apart from expenditure, daily recurring expenditure, and paying civil servants. And that's where the problem is, that you are paying so much taxes and you're getting zero delivery from our taxes.
Do you think that there's a one-stop solution to this? I know that severally you've spoken about corruption. You've talked about, you know, if you get that nipped, if you get this, it's beyond the bud now. I think it's all over the place. But if you get that sorted out, then you sort out the problems that the country is dealing with, or is it beyond that?
I think we need to overhaul the entire system. So the guys who create the problem cannot fix it. So this government cannot fix the problem. But you need to fix first. Number one is you need corruption has to be dealt with. So seal all leakages, and then you need to ensure that you do an audit of the civil service. It's bloated, inflated, and there's a lot of ghost workers. Thirdly, you need to stop unnecessary expenditure. Or travel, meeting in hotels, 3 cars for every minister, escort service, all these things, bodyguards, hang around. There's so much unnecessary expenditure around individuals. So you need to ensure that if there's a meeting in Kazakhstan, it can be a Zoom meeting.
It can. We've seen presidents do this before.
They do Zoom meetings, right? If a government doesn't have to go to Naivasha for a retreat, you remove all per diems and travel allowance. Say, no, there's no traveling. You're going to work from our ministries, and you're going to have online meetings if you have to have meetings. And then there's a need for people who work for the government to have a clock-in, clock-out system. The way you guys come in and you clock in and you come in and then you clock out. Because people go to the office, hang their jackets, they never work. So there's a very big problem in this country about how we pay people who don't even show up to work. You pay a doctor a salary and they have a clinic
where they're focused
behind the hospital. So they just come hang the jacket. Then when you go in, you're just being sent behind the hospital to go and see the doctor. That's where the problem is.
It's interesting that you say that. If say one of the things that you seal all leakages, you seal all the loopholes. Today we are being told, and this is something that you've mentioned previously, that the Court of Appeal has insisted that the SGR contracts be made public. The details of the 583 billion shilling SGR contract be made public, so that you can know exactly how much this thing cost. You can know who was involved. You can know if money beyond the actual cost of the SGR was spent and who authorized this. So obviously this goes beyond the Ruto government. It goes previously. But would this be the kind of thing that we're talking about when we say seal all the loopholes?
Yes. So let me say this: when Uhuru SGR is actually a big scam. They built a railway next to another railway. Like they all had to do actually is upgrade the old railway, and that was enough. But they did a scandal where the railway ends up in Uhuru Kenyatta's land in Naivasha. Big scandal. The problem you have here is that everyone is a thief, because when this government came to power, they promised a state capture commission. So the state capture, we're going to investigate, we're going to make expressway deal public and find out who owns expressway. They've never done that. So, and this brings me into about leadership. So there's a big conversation about this coming election and who should work with who. But the truth is, if the young people in this movement work with these politicians, they're going to end up becoming thieves. Because the people who are shouting loudest about Uhuru's kleptocracy, when they came into power, they went quiet because they realized we can get a cut from what those guys stole, because they're going to share with us. Right now, as a movement trying to win the presidency, and you're being told, come, join us, we have money for you guys to campaign. Because the moment you join those people, they're going to give you money, but you can never go after what they have stolen in the past. So how do we move forward? Even before the court, this Jaron thing ruling is very good. But there's the Nduh report on the illegal acquisition of land. Implement that. There's the GenZ report that says who stole what, who violated who, what happened in the last 50 years. Go after those. There's a lot of documents in government that actually exist that you can implement to show that you are serious about corruption and rule of law. But they will not do that because it affects them individually.
You know, you've talked about state capture and the commission that was to be put in place. But here we talk about a body personally that one would say is the weakest link in all this conversation. You know why? Because if you look at the levies and taxes that Kenyans are complaining about today, right? It is because there is a law that passed through Parliament that is now an act that is being implemented by various bodies. That today, if the cost of fuel is to be reduced, that would not be done by the ministry. That is to be done by Parliament by amending the already existing law. Yet in all these 2 days, we've not had anything from the Energy Committee. MPs are silent on this matter. One would hope that with all this, perhaps even the House would have been recalled from recess to address a subject of national interest. Where do we place Parliament in all this? Is it the weakest link in the country today?
Yes, it is the weakest link. The current Parliament is a rubber stamp for the executive. They pass any law he wants. They do anything he wants. So, yeah, we have the worst Parliament in the history of this country. And that comes back to the Kenyan people. We must elect better, because if you elect someone who will not fight for you, then you're doomed as a country. Yeah.
What would you do?
If I was the president?
Yes.
If I was the president, number one, actually, you can do without subsidies for this particular moment. But now, because you're getting money from the IMF, and IMF says, if we loan you money, you can't put subsidies. But if if you had fiscal discipline and reduced unnecessary expenditure, you could actually lower the cost of living for Kenyans. But there's no fiscal discipline. That's what we lack. Yeah.
I mean,
but you know, let's talk about fiscal discipline. Actually, you mentioned something about odious debts.
Yeah.
And Kenya is servicing debts of money that was borrowed, that never came to our coffers, and the money was stolen or misappropriated. The people stole that money are known people. The money, where the money went, can be found. We need to get the people who borrowed this money to pay that money. And if that money went into their pockets, we recover that money and pay those debts.
Yeah.
Because Tata has actually been talking about odious debts. We need to find out where did this money go, because that money never came to our economy.
Boni, you talk about odious debt. The government is the greatest consumer of information or intelligence.
Yeah.
They know where this money came from. They know where that money ended.
Yes.
They know why that money never came to the country. Because if you look at the PFM Act, it's clear on where money that we borrow needs to end up, But for some weird reason, it is very difficult for action to be taken. Can we trust the very same people? Because this is the thing. We can't excuse President William Ruto from Eurobond that was borrowed and never ended up in the country, because he was part and parcel of that government.
Yes.
He started in the Security Council meeting. He knows everything. So that today we're talking about odious debt and that money not being here, he cannot be excused from it. Is it a question of, we know we are part of this and we will protect those who did a disservice to the Republic? And if that's the case, then what guarantees must be there through the offices, EACC, ODPP, to ensure that justice is given? So,
Uhuru and Ruto are co-presidents and they're partners in crime. So anything that happened in the last 10 years, in the 10 years of Uhuru's administration, cannot be addressed by Ruto because it's part of that administration. Okay. It will only take change of government for those things to be addressed fully. And then the ODPP and the EACC, all of them are presidential appointee. Benson Drungu and Bishop, I think, Odinde are all appointees of this administration. So there's no way they're going to go after their master. So for Ruto to end up in jail, we must ensure that he's removed from power. Then we can prosecute him. And let me tell you, Ruto is going to be the first sitting president to go to jail. But he's going to likely have a cellmate, and it will be Uhuru Kenyatta.
You sound very sure of that. Why?
Because their actions as in the 10 years of Jubilee administration and now the last 3 years of UDA has been amassing wealth at the expense of Kenyans. They've actually turned the government of this country or the tax of this country in private property. For example, let's talk about avoidable housing. We continue housing levy, everyone's contributing housing levy. You go take government land, you build using government resources, then you sell that land, and you sell those houses to people. There's no transparency where this money goes, where this levy is collected goes, and when the houses are sold, where does the money go to? Like everything about that thing is a scam. SHA is a scam. NHIF was actually working. It had its own defectiveness, it had its own problems, but it was actually working. And they claimed that they removed NHF because of corruption. But it was corruption and there was problems and there was illegal claims or fraudulent claims. Why didn't you go after the criminals instead of destroying NHIF to start a parallel system that benefits your people? The government built a hospital for National Police Service next to Kenyatta Hospital. And of course, I think about 5 billion shillings. It has never been opened. Then you take those police and give them a private cover, and they go to a private hospital. We'll have an entire hospital for police. It does not make sense. Everything that has been done in this government in the last 3 years has been to benefit individuals. And if it's not true, they can prove me wrong. There's nothing that he has done to benefit Kenyans.
So, and I think what creates a stirring in the spirit of many people is that who is going to bell the cat and how will this be done? This Singapore that everybody keeps talking about, which is just, it's a bit exhausting because you can't use something as an example if you're not going to do the thing that they actually did. The leader who came in and cleaned up this mess didn't listen to all these sideshows. He came in and he was bullish in nature, where they said, okay, you know what? If we're going to follow the rule of law, the people who've had their hands in the cookie jar, lock them up. And it was among some of the first countries in the world that we saw actually jail former presidents, jail former security heads, put people in life in prison in 2 instances for life. To say that you have been stealing from this country, have a seat here and cool your heels for a minute while we try to fix things. What am I saying? That you cannot take an example from the developed if you're not ready to do what the developed did. So here we are using the example over and over again. Here we are saying things must change. People will go to jail. You've just said it this morning. But who is the one who is going to come and say, shut everything down and let's deal with this rot? You can't build on top of
garbage.
You can't. And this is what Kenyans are saying. Okay, we hear people saying this all the time. But then who's the one who's going to say, enough is enough? I don't care if you're my friend. If you've done wrong, you've done wrong. Cool your heels over here. Who's going to do that? Because everybody's still a little bit too nice.
My name is Boniface Mwangi. I am running for president, and I will jail the thieves. Big or small, all the crooks will end up in jail. And if we are successful in changing the law, we are going to hang all the thieves who have stolen from this country. If you're an economic thief, we shall have public hanging at Uhuru Park. That I assure you. We must talk about that. And I want you, when you host other people who are running for president or in other office, ask them what are they going to do about corruption. And if they are working with those thieves, ask them, how are you going to jail your friend? Because the problem we have is that we talk tough about corruption, but we realize our friends are thieves. So you have to go soft about it. And one of the most touchy issues in this country is corruption, because everyone in that parliament or in that senate, most of them are thieves. They've been given money they've been given bribes to vote for a motion or to acquit a governor or to do many hanky-panky business. So they are very afraid about corruption. We're going to talk about rule of law. What does rule of law say? We must go after big thieves, because this country is very particular about small thieves. If you snatch a phone or if you steal a chicken, we burn you alive. But if you steal a lot of money, we elect you to the presidency. And that has to come to an end. And the Kenyan voter must be very careful in this coming election. The more money someone has, the more likely is a thief. Because it is impossible to become a billionaire in this country without being a thief. You haven't invented, you haven't innovated, you haven't come up with and you're not entrepreneurial at all, that your entire life you're a DO or a minister in Kanu's government, then you tell us you're a billionaire and you have businesses. You stole that money. Because in the 90s, the salary of a member of parliament between 92 and 97, Ruto's salary and Madhakarua's salary was 5,000 a month as a member of parliament. Plus allowance is 20,000. If you're earning 20,000 in a month in the 90s, how do you become a billionaire? How come you're the only billionaire in this country? How come Kogiwa Mwere, Gitobi Manyara, and the likes are not billionaires and in the same parliament with you? Or even Shikuku, who was longer from the 60s, died a pauper in Ushago. Because basically you went into power or you used government office to steal land, to get illegal tenders, to do all manner of things. And the only way you can have a new country is ensuring that any person who was part of KANU does not get into power in post-2027. The only way to fix this country is to fagia wote. We say for once, we have tried replacing 2, 3, 4 people. Let's replace 100%. And then you tell these people that if you dare not deliver, we are going to shut down the country, back in the streets and remove you. Popular pricing. we must make popular pricing the norm in this country. That if we know that the power belongs to the people, that if we fail to deliver, we don't wait for 5 years. We take to the streets, we march to State House, and we remove you.
Yeah. Bonnie, do you think the public has bought that idea of getting rid of each and every single individual who's put their hand in the cookie jar? Because it still goes back to Kenyans and who they vote for and who they put into these offices. Because unless Mwananchi decides to do things differently, we are not moving anywhere. From where you sit, do we have Kenyans bought the idea that time for change was yesterday? We need to do it now for us to see the change that we seek.
So there's a percentage of Kenyans who want real change, and you can see the GenZs in that group of Kenyans. But our parents are still in the tribal cocoons. Our parents are going to say, Rigathi is a Kikuyu leader, Uhuru Kenyatta, Ruto is a Kalenjin leader, and the likes. That's where the problem is. So if we can be able to convince our parents that for once, don't vote for tribe, vote for values, then that may change. But it's going to take a lot of work. But you have to realize that in 2013, when this government came to power, they banned NGOs that were doing civic education. So we've had about 13 years of no civic education. So we have to now become the civic educators and actually educate Kenyan people about why an MCA matters and why tribe is not important when it comes to voting. Because at the end of the day, when I get sick, I go to the hospital. I don't go look for a Luya or Kikuyu doctor. I go and ask for a doctor. When I get into a matatu, I don't ask the tribe of the matatu conductor or the driver. I just want a matatu.
Yeah.
But when it comes to voting, we are very particular about what tribe is that person. Do they represent my community? But you know, these people don't represent your community. They represent their interests. They just happen to become from your community because when they steal, they don't steal for you. They steal for themselves. There's no one who's ever stolen money and then they brought it to the community. But this thing about muzi wetu, kabila yetu, is a very big problem. So you have to detribalize the vote for us to change this country.
The economy cannot be ignored. It's very clear that a lot of the things that people complain about, you can have a direct straight line back to the economy. Whether we talk about, not being able to provide proper healthcare, of course, the economic factors where money may have been misappropriated. But everything circles around an economy. Kenya doesn't have a revenue problem. Kenya has an expenditure problem. Kenya has a non-manufactural issue whereby you're not building anything, so you can't sell anything, you can't make a profit. An economy runs on profit making. It's very clear. It's not by the prayers of anybody. It is you create something, you sell it for profit, you make money, you run the economy. That's why MSMEs function.
True. Yeah.
You can't do that if you have a huge amount of debt.
True.
Kenya has a 12.4 trillion shilling debt problem. And pundits have said that if you're not dealing with a debt issue, then you're not looking towards how you're going to solve the problem. Do you agree with that? And if that's the case, how would that be dealt with?
So I agree with that. But if you have to service debt, we can negotiate debt. We can either default and say we cannot afford to pay and say do what you're going to do. Or we say, you know what, let's renegotiate the debt and say, how do we stagger it longer? But for you to be able to do that, you also need to be able to say, I'm going to generate more income for the people. How do you do that? Kenya has the highest expensive power in the region. We need to actually have affordable energy, because if you have enough affordable energy, you have people manufacture, people set up industries. Kenya has we have independent power generators who are charging us even for power not consumed. We have a problem with us transporting the energy to where it's needed. So basically, the economy is surviving on by luck. There's no deliberate effort to ensure that we're creating more jobs by ensuring that there's affordable energy. You made it ease of doing business for people to be able to open business. That 47 counties, how do we get 47 industries in those 47 counties? How do we ensure that pyrethrum, cotton, sisal is back? How do we decide, you know what, if sugarcane is not working, how do we legalize marijuana and have hemp? It's hemp, right? Hemp. Yes, sorry, hemp.
It's hump day. It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday.
How do we ensure that you can have medicinal hemp? Therefore, it can be used for medicine. It can be used for cooking oil. It can be used for so many other things. There's an entire industry to be unlocked Western could be like the hemp belt of this country. If you're selling miraa and we have no problem with miraa, there should not be a problem of doing medicinal marijuana. It's the backbone of Colorado.
Yeah.
The entire Colorado state relies on marijuana. We can do that. So basically, there's lack of thinking in how we can actually expand our economy, and that's why we're just relying on overtaxation to service those debts. But we can be able to grow economy by opening up all other industries that are locked. The blue economy, we have fish that we sell at cheaply, or we allow Chinese trawlers to come and just take everything from us. You go to Lake Victoria, our fish, there's no storage. You know, there's so many things that we can address. Nyandarua, there's potatoes, but they can't reach Eldoret. There's the problem. Yeah.
So, Boni, I want to look at, you want to become president.
Yes.
And you becoming president, then one would look at other leaders that would be in your party to be in parliament, and other like-minded leaders that would help your cause be better. In the political space right now, have you identified individuals that you're willing to work with to rescue the country in that Kenya, that leadership that you want to be in? Are you looking to work with others?
I am willing to work with others, and I've been in conversation with some people. My only concern is that they feel like we cannot win without the old political guards. That is the problem. They feel like we must be able to work with some people who are very dirty, who are very corrupt, who will just make us as corrupt as them. And I feel like we need to believe in ourselves. I have said this, that there's a path to the presidency, that if we collectively work together, we can get the GenZ votes, and we can get the 8 million young people who did not vote in the last election. That's enough to get us elected. But these people feel like we need the financial muscle of the old guards who we intend to jail when you get into power. And there lies the problem, because that's when you see people going all over the country and they're doing big rallies and all that, there's financial backers who are saying, let me put my money on this guy, because come 2027, when there's change of government, people demand for blood and for people going to jail. But because they funded this man, he'll not jail me. And so that's why I'm staying away from those, if those convoys of people who I think they have an idea that you can fix this country, but your backers are the problem, and the people that you must jail when you get into power.
They're saying that if you want to be wealthy, if you want to be rich, go start business, but depend on government to create an environment where it's conducive for you to do this business. That you need to then make sure that the process for doing business makes sense, that somebody can come in as an investor or whatever the case may be, and you create the framework for that. The job of government is in the creation of the laws and to make sure. So you have members of parliament, you have those who sit in your lawmaking bodies, and then that's where the real work is. Should people be focused? I mean, you alluded to that. Talk about your MCA, the very basic level of governance. But the work that needs to be done is right there at Parliament to ensure that this environment then is created. I want to look at the importance of the vote when it comes to who you are actually putting in the position that is going to make and protect the law. And also protect the money, because that's where the rubber meets the road. How important is that attention to be set?
I think a member of parliament is one of the most key positions in this country, because that's where they do legislation, they do oversight. They are like your watchman. They watch the coffers. They're able to. They can even summon any cabinet secretary. They can impeach the president. But Kenyans do not see that. They don't see that role, because we made a mistake by giving members of parliament CDF. Because now they've stopped focusing on legislation. They're dishing out bursaries and building fences in police station and just doing things that they're not supposed to do. The money that is in CDF should go back to government. Let government do education. Let members of parliament just focus on their job, legislation and oversight, and becoming the people's watchdog. So, when I get elected, when I get elected, we shall get rid of CDF. Totally. There should not be CDF. No money going to. It is already legal.
And give it to whom?
The money goes to the government. There's no. You don't need to give politicians money to give handouts. That money is the one that is giving politicians money to give bursaries to goons kids, so that these goons can be called on. They can be on call and being given to border goons. This money, every year, a member of parliament has about 50 million shillings. No, 200 million shillings actually. Every year, an MP has 200 million to spend on bursaries. Where is an MP issuing bursaries? That's not their job. So remove that money from there. Number two, remove lower salaries of members of parliament to at least maybe lower it by 30 to 40 or even 50%. Even parliamentarians, cabinet secretaries, and even presidents. Lower that salaries so that you attract people who are coming to serve the country, not to actually earn that money. Remove bodyguards. Every MP, give them a driver and a personal assistant. That's fine. No bodyguards. Take these police officers back to the community so the entire country can be safe for everyone, not just for a few people. So you remove all these perks. Between independence and 2002, members of parliament never had bodyguards. They never had all these perks. And we had the best parliamentarians even in the 80s when it was a one-party state. There was only KANU in power, but people like Orengo and Anyona were in KANU, and they were fighting the president of KANU in parliament because they had a say and they could talk about these things. Problem is, we are electing people who are sycophants, who are drug dealers, who are murderers, who are rapists, people, wash people, all manner of criminals into parliament. And when they go there, they just get elected just for protection. So when they're called to vote for anything, they vote for anything. You should not have someone who runs as a betting company as a member of parliament. You should not have that. And even ethically, it is very wrong. Because he's going to pass laws that favor him. You should not have people who own hospitals and do all manner of things in parliament because they're going to pass laws that favor them. Just remove the prestige and the perks of parliamentarians, and you're going to attract people who are willing to work for this country into parliament. And I can tell Kenyans that you do not need parliamentarians from one party, either UDA or whatever party it is, even my party, Kweli Party. Elect people for their values, because values will align in parliament. You don't need a yes parliament or a no parliament. You need a parliament that is actually there to represent the best interest of the people.
That's what you need. Well, the time is running quickly. Are there indicators as to what 2027 will look like, and how do you feel about, we know what in our heads should be the case, how people should vote, how people should organize themselves. What does it look like if you were able to look into the proverbial crystal ball? What does it look like going into 2027 that Kenyans will then make decisions about?
So it looks very messy because there's a campaign to make the election tribal, not about issues. There's an issue about, that tribe, this tribe, and that's going to inflame this country. There's even a possibility of pre-election violence because if you inflame the country and make it such a high-stakes game, people start being killed or being evicted from their homes. And so you must detribalize the politics, and anyone who is actually doing dog whistling politics should be called out. So let's be very careful that you don't go back to 2007. Because Hassan Omar spoke yesterday, and they're saying, and it's
unfortunately,
yes. So you have to be very careful. You end up with tribal politics. Let's just stick to the issues and speak to what matters for this country. And whatever happens, no one should fight for a politician. If they want to fight, to give them those majembe gloves, naweka mawe, put them in a ring, let them fight each other. We can even fund a fight for Rigathi and Ruto. They square it out. They used to be friends.
Boniface Mwangi, his presidential aspirant, has been here with us this morning, looking at some pertinent issues that perhaps need to be focused on more than others. Thank you. Thank you for being here this morning. Looking forward to the next. Asante Sana, good morning, 8 a.m.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is the news. I'm Sheila Tembor. Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has commended public transport operators for suspending their nationwide strike, terming the move an act of patriotism. Speaking in Kinangop constituency, Nyandarua County, Kindiki said the government will explore all available options to reduce fuel prices.
Nataka kwa niaba ya serikali niwashukuru kwa hatua hiyo ya kizalendo, na niseme ya kwamba matatizo ni mengi, na hata tukitatua hii tatizo kutakuwa na matatizo mengine, na hili tatizo sio tatizo Kenya pekee, ni tatizo ambayo iko katika mambo ya ulimwengu kwa sababu ya yale mambo mnajua yanaendelea. Hivi karibuni tulipunguza ile kodi ambayo tulikuwa tunatoza katika mambo ya mafuta, ikatoka 16% ikakuja 8%. Vile tukaweka in the last 2 months subsidy ya 12 billion shillings in the last 2 months, lakini bado haitoshi.
Meanwhile, UDA Secretary General Hassan Omar, speaking at the party headquarters in Nairobi, said the measures being implemented to stabilize fuel prices are pushing the economy to the brink.
Ile ambalo wale sekta ya matatu wanaitisha ni kwamba tukate bei na shilingi 35. Sisi kama serikali tayari tumepunguza VAT, tayari tumeweka stabilization fund hapo awali, na tayari tumeweka stabilization fund ya mwezi wa Mei.
Siaya Governor James Orengo has said he was misquoted over remarks allegedly directed at Homa Bay Governor Gladys Wanga. Reports had indicated that Orengo criticized Wanga, suggesting she lacked political maturity despite her experience in public service. In a statement, Orengo urged critics to consider the remarks in their broader political context, saying Kenyan leaders often make strong statements without consequences. This comes as Kisumu MCs led by Deputy Speaker Nurea Okombo called on the Council of Governors to compel Orengo to apologize, saying the comments undermine devolution.
When one governor's conduct brings office of the governor and the decision of devolution into dispute, the COG has a duty to intervene and enforce standards. And why? Because the sentiments of Governor Orengo on Gladys Wanga violates Article 73 of the Constitution, which says that authority assigned to a state officer is a public trust.
Meanwhile, Siaya County Assembly members led by Buka Bonyo have threatened to initiate impeachment against the governor.
To impeach Orengo, hata kama amebaki na 1 month kwa chair, the constitution allows that he can be impeached. I'm going to collect the signatures for Orengo to be impeached because we can't have a rogue governor in the name of the governor of Siaya.
The matter continues to stir debate within the ODM party, with some leaders calling for calm and unity amid emerging internal divisions. A parliamentary committee has raised concerns over the Strategic Goods Control Bill 2026, warning that the proposed framework could create an expensive bureaucracy and slow trade operations. MPs questioned the proposal to establish a committee instead of an independent regulatory authority to oversee strategic goods and sensitive technologies. Committee Chairperson Gabriel Tongoyo said the structure may lack efficiency, while Vice Chairperson Dido Raso warned traders could face multiple approvals from different agencies. Government officials defended the proposal, saying it will coordinate existing regulators and reduce cost by relying on officers seconded from current agencies. Lawmakers agreed to continue consultations to balance national security interests with ease of doing business. And the IEBC has announced that registration of candidates for the Olkalau parliamentary by-election will take place on 25th and 26th May. In a notice issued yesterday, the Commission said the exercise will be held at PCA Hall in Olkalau ahead of the 16th July mini poll. IEBC has urged all aspirants to ensure they meet the constitutional and legal requirements before submitting nomination papers. And that's the news. I'm Sheila Tembor.
.5 SpiceFM, Kisumu.
In this country, 6 families and 8,000 Kenyans control 90% of the GDP. We are not a country. We are a plantation. We work for Ruto.
When you're telling the judges court orders are papers or they will not obey court orders, they're sitting and you're seeking orders from them. So how are they supposed to interpret it? Isn't it an oxymoron?
When you see a judiciary that seems to be under some control somewhere, you start questioning. We have very powerful governors, but they don't use their offices to serve the people.
If you are not shameful to
to do what you are doing, why should we protect you?
I'm human. Everybody is human. So when you're told, kuja tuongee, I mean, you'd be a fool to say, "Sitaki kuongea today." Conversations have to be had, you know?
People in leadership should only go into leadership if they are ready and willing to change the lot of the people.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
If we just gloss over issues and hope that time heals, then we may find that in generations to come, we might be back at the same situation. And the whole thing is born of stolen elections.
Spice. When it comes to the decisions you make, you must be independent. There's no way you can allow one institution to dictate to you how you're going to conduct your operations, how you're going to decide cases. It's a no.
When you weaken the institution to the point where they cannot take action, then you realize that politicians have to come up and now start dealing with the issues.
That conversation has to die. Our politicians do not like the hard stuff. We must insist on the path of doing things right, whether popular or unpopular.
Money changes hands. That is a fact. If you have political goodwill at the highest top, like in Rwanda, then corruption will be an issue of the past. If you don't have political goodwill at the top, we will pass laws, we will amend laws, we will continue passing laws and re-amending laws, and nothing will happen.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Every time he kept on saying he wants a vibrant opposition.
How does it make sense that public money has been used for everything and then they dare to sell it back to you? Why are they not giving them for free?
That's how broken we are. That's how broken we are.
They're being sent home now for fees. They're going to fail to prepare. We are compromising the futures of these children.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Here we are coming in at 9 minutes after 8 o'clock and into the third hour of the Situation Room. This Wednesday morning is the 20th of May and hurtling quickly towards the end of the month, and you get to June already. We've already been told that certain things are going to happen, whether the weather patterns will exacerbate, whether we're looking at things that will be different politically. We'll have a conversation around all of those things, and that doesn't stop us from having a conversation at this hour. Professor George Wajakoya is the Roots Party leader. He's here with us this morning, and good to see you. Good morning, Prof.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Salama sana.
Salama.
Karibu sana.
It's a long time.
It has been. You've been busy.
Yeah, I should come for tea one of these days. I host you guys. You
For tea?
hosted me for a long time. I need to host you guys in any hotel of your choice.
Okay.
For lunch.
It's on the record. It's on the record. Karibu, thank you. Many things happening. And it's interesting that we come off a conversation whereby things have been a bit sticky in the country, And then we say that there are solutions to this, and there's perhaps some of those solutions that we'll be talking about today. But as usual, Dennis wants to welcome you with today's proverbs.
Our proverb today comes from Gabon, former French colony, country that is rich in oil, but despite the wealthy resources that they do have, inequality in terms of the gap between the rich and poor is really, really wide. But it's also part of the Congo Basin, which is part of the world's second largest rainforest after the Amazon. But the proverb we have this morning, no matter how long the log stays in water, it never becomes a crocodile. How would you interpret it?
When a tree falls on your mom, don't work it. Don't remove it from her.
Why?
There's no answers.
Okay.
We'll leave it at that.
I think we should.
We just leave it at that.
I think we should.
Yeah.
It's obvious, I mean, even as we start off, it's obvious that Kenya does not have a public transport system. You've been to many nations of the world. You can get along, or you can get where you're going really quickly with the public transport system. And what we mean that it is government run, government operated, government funded, essentially. But that you can get where you're going, and there's a public system. That doesn't take away from the private that happens. But by and large, governments have public funded transport systems. So they're government operated. So you can easily say that there's a public transport system. With the strike that we saw over the last couple of days, it's evident that that does not exist in Kenya. Is it necessary to have one in the first place? And if so, how do you go about it?
Kenya has the best public transport system. And the Kenya bus services. We also had the NYS public transport system. Had it not been because of mismanagement, I think we're almost equating the likes of New York, metropolitan city transport. So we cannot say that we didn't. We had, but because of corruption, the whole thing came down.
Now, we look at a transport system that is funded by the public, and with that then, what would that mean to the economy of the country? Because if you look at the other jurisdiction, the government says it is a responsibility to take the people to their places of work and back home in a system that is trusted, that is reliable, and that people can depend on, and is also affordable. So that when we come for the taxes, we've helped the citizens to generate the taxes. If we have the same ideology in Kenya, what would that do to the economy overall?
I will give you an example of the JKIA transport system. The moment you disembark from a plane, you are whisked in a bus to the immigration center. And if we had that kind of psychology, and assuming that those buses were public, then we could build on that. We don't have any complaint at the JKIA. Whenever you want to go out of the country, you pass through the immigration control. Either you're whisked to the plane by metro transportation system or not. Why couldn't we have even done the same elsewhere? We used to have Kenya Bus. You know, I was born a long time ago, and I've seen a lot of development in this country. I've been there during the generation of all presidents. You could call me a fossil. There was a time when Kenya transportation system was the best in East Africa. The East African Railways and Ports Authority. We had railway lines linking the coast to the interior. They are very reliable, available, affordable. We had even the waterway systems in Lake Victoria, which were available, reliable, and affordable. We had the Kenya Bus system, and we even still have the Kenya Bus Corporation. We had also the Kenatico system. We had also a time when Moi brought in the London taxis to ease congestion. The problem turned around when the whole system was politicized, where now every business person took a loan and brought matatus. And when Michuki came in and streamlined that particular industry, everything went okay. But as of the moment, it's actually the oil crisis.
So there seems to be crisis after crisis after crisis.
Yes.
So whether we're talking about a public transport system, or whether we're talking about fuel prices going skyrocketing, or whether we're talking about an economy that's downward facing, all of that seems to lead back to leadership. And we're at a time now where everybody's asking for a position of leadership. And we have to find ourselves asking the question about who would make it different if they were given a position or were given that mandate by people to lead. How would it be different? What would be done to say that now you can see something different happening?
First of all, you have to make our country or our people to realize that where there is an international global crisis, we don't politicize it like what is ongoing in the country today, where blame is shifted to the government. Sometimes we have to swallow our pride and speak the truth. Currently, in the 70s, we had the oil crisis. Then we had the Russia-Ukraine that brought in a crisis that brought in an oil crisis. And then the current issue, which is a global issue that has actually affected each and every nation that uses oil or relies on oil. Now, on that one, people ought to understand that if the crisis brings in oil shocks or test shocks, and which affects the global energy, whereby one country leads to war, and that war escalates into main oil-producing countries, like, for example, when Iran attacked Qatar and dissipated its gas operations, when the Strait of Hormuz was closed, which made all the oil tankers not to have access, when the fossils or the fuel reservations were actually interfered with, then we come to Kenya and we find out that people do not want to look into that as a crisis. People now come out and say, whoa, and I'm not defending the government, but I'm looking at it from the international perspective. It's a global issue. It has affected Philippines, oil reserves. It has affected the UK. It has affected the United States. Countries have increased oil because there was no way out. So this particular issue that we have today, even though it has been sensitized because of lack of knowledge or understanding, we should actually sometimes come and swallow our pride. We should not politicize and then put blame on something that is actually visible. But for the leadership part, it's very difficult to have a solution. We cannot say that we're going to elect so-and-so who will actually come in and solve this crisis. We need actually to have knowledge. We need to talk as a nation. We need to have a conversation as a nation so that we can actually know what to do. The issue of political leadership to come and lead us from the crisis to another place needs people who can actually understand the geopolitics and the international economic development. In that case, of course, we have to come up with a mechanism. We have to look at us and ask ourselves, what can we do in this nation? Must we relegate everything to somebody? Must we look at the current political system to try to come out of the crisis? So issues of which politician is going to bring us out of the crisis without us thinking about ourselves and putting down the ground and having it as a conversation is a problem.
Prof, it has been said that for us to have a solution even to the oil crisis that is there right now, one of the areas that we must look into is having reserves, internal reserves, because Kenya, as we speak right now, we do not have long-term reserves that will serve the country whenever these shocks do arrive. That is one part of it. But then again, there is also the fact that we are exploring oil within the country. Why not build a refinery? We know conversations are ongoing with regard to that. But when it comes to leadership, many say the landed cost for fuel at the port of Mombasa is 100, but everything else is levies, which is now an act that is being implemented because it is law. From the leadership perspective, bearing in mind the shocks that the world is experiencing, should we then have conversations on how we can amend the law to make it easy for their citizens? Should that be the direction, perhaps, that many look at?
Definitely. The issue of looking at the law and amending the law without proper planning, economic development policy, is all futile. I will pose a question before I make comments. Nairobi Metropolitan City has become a war zone in terms of infrastructure and logistics. Why would we come in and say that we need to improve Nairobi and develop Nairobi when all the infrastructure has gone wayward? Why can't we come up with a new city like what the Roots Party is proposing? We build a new city in a place like Isiolo because of its proximity to the northern and southern corridor, east-west corridor, and then build a properly regulated, a properly managed environment into a new city whereby you can actually ease congestion and develop a metropolitan system, rail system, road system, and air system that will absorb the increasing population. That's number one. Number two, why would we have a conversation on oil legislation when we know that the executive has the majority in parliament and they can at any time increase what they want to increase and pass it as a legislation? How comes that the same executive as we see today is the main guzzler abuser? You'll find that the government officials are allocated guzzlers. You'll find one official, for example, Minister for Internal Security or Transportation or what have you, having 10 cars, and all those cars are guzzlers. Why can't we start by telling these leaders to give us a refined example? In UK, where I've lived for so many years, and also the US, you'll find that the public scrutiny does not allow a state appointed official to misuse public funds. So we should start with the government. For example, State House operatives, when the president is passing into place, he passes with guzzlers. You can see about 50 guzzlers chasing one man. If you look at governors, they have taken the same. If you look at the ministers, so we should actually start with them first before they sit on the table wanting to regulate anything in terms of energy.
I hear you saying that there needs to be an overhaul.
Definitely, yes.
So it seems as though development is being sought after over things that exist, and perhaps you need to uproot some things and then lay bare. Would you say then that people have no business in new development at the moment, but either finishing what was there before or then rerouting what does not work? How would you go about it? We don't look at Nairobi, and we look at that as a particular example because people have tried and failed. But you can't have a city with a stature that Nairobi commands in the state that it is in today.
Well, let's look at the planning of Nairobi and start with the freeway. This, how do we call it, the superhighway. Why did we have to put a superhighway in Nairobi in the first place when we don't have a highway linking us to Nakuru and Mombasa, which is the main entry point, economic exit and entry point in this particular country? Why couldn't we have developed freeways? Look at the roads as they are built now in Nairobi, and you see how much wastage we have on the road designs. Why would we not take those energies away? Because I'm now told today that there will be another flyover. Is it flyover or metropolitan highway on Thika Road to somewhere in Kiambu? Is that not wastage? Are we not actually damaging and burdening the soil that is not even there when the city is sinking? Nairobi is the main place that we should actually make it as an example and try to move away and build new cities. We have plenty of land. Remove State House from Nairobi, put it somewhere like Nakuru. Remove Parliament from Nairobi, put it somewhere like Machakos. Remove some of this, like the Ministry of Agriculture headquarters is in Nairobi. Ministry of Health headquarters is in Nairobi. The people working there, the government officials working there, are actually burdening the taxpayers because of the infrastructure and logistics that they operate under. So what we are saying as Roots Party is like, look, this issue of Nairobi, whereby everybody is coming into Nairobi sooner or later we're going to drown because of the changing ecological system. Let's move out of Nairobi and let us devolve functions into other areas so that we can come to this, to put this issue of energy down. We are also proposing that we grow hemp. Hemp oil is now being used, in fact, because of its clean environmental, clean air methods and what have you. Hemp oil is now being used in developed countries, and that would ease reliance on crude oil, which in itself has got environmental disasters. We can also move in windpipe. We have a lot of environmental echelons that can make us grow new and renewable sources of energy.
You speak of a change that is there, but you've also just taken us back to history when Kenya Bus was there and Nairobi had a working transport system that there was. That today, if we want a system that works, we already have examples. We have the blueprint that is there. There's a time we were given a story here on how you'd want to move from Buruburu to the CBD at 8 a.m. The bus would be there and there would be a board telling you when the bus would be there. If we are to fix the transport system in Nairobi, for example, we can do it. But is there the political goodwill to change that?
There is no political goodwill. And secondly, we don't need to go that way on your first proposal of the proximity between Buruburu and Nairobi and the time taken. We can tunnel underground. We can chamber the underground like we've done in London. London is a very small ground, but everything functions. We can introduce the metropolitan systems in Nairobi, have the underground and the overland buses that can ease congestion. We can introduce the train system if only we have proper planning. But the issue of matatus and the menace that comes with, the issue of motorbikes or border borders and the menace that comes with, and the kind of crowd that comes with it, will not make that thing go well unless it's properly regulated. And I believe that Michuki, wherever he is, he's actually crying because he left us with a very good transportation system, common sense, and some kind of reasonableness in what was going on at that particular time. But look at today. Everybody for himself. You'll find that the Minister for Transport, for example, and I'm not saying the current, may be having a pecuniary interest in the ownership of transportation system. The police, most of them own these matatus, so it's chaotic. But an oil crisis, of course, that's an international issue. But we have to regulate and come out and see what we can do, if at all we can do it, through proper planning, having our own engineers doing the roads. Like, look at the roads that the Chinese have built for us. If you look at the intersections, they're just an accident war zones. We can do these things properly, or we can get our military, our defense system. When they came to build Uhuru Park, look at what they did. Kenya Army, what battalion is that? Engineering battalion? Can be given responsibility to come up and design our roads and build them properly, other than having what we are having today. But the main issue, as you said before, is oil crisis, and we should look at what to do.
The countries of the world are facing the same thing at the moment, and that I don't believe that there's a country who relies on fuel in the same nature that Kenya does is not having a difficult experience either with getting the commodity or keeping the supplies constant with the current things that are happening. How they're able to deal with it may not result in high prices then being transferred to the people of the country. They may deal with it somehow else. And are we talking about decisive action here, where they say, this is how we choose to buffer the situation? This is how we decide that we're going to make it easier for people to survive. Is Kenya different, or is any country which chooses to raise the prices to these unbearable levels doing it differently? And what I'm really at the place whereby leadership must be keen as to what is going to be done about what is a crisis situation that doesn't create a further crisis in the existence of its people.
Actually, You have dealt seriously on the issue of leadership. Leadership. And here we have a crisis. And the way to manage this crisis. Obviously, if you look into the so-called leadership that we have here, starting from the Kenyatta family, the Odinga family, the Moi family, and the Ruto family, you find out that they have interest in oil. The Uhuru owns the company that I'm not going to mention. The Railas have a stake in oil industry. The Rutos have a stake in oil industry. So is Moi. And they own the main oil companies. And imagine if they have pecuniary interest in their own companies, how do you expect them to to come up with the legislation which is not tainted? Because at the same time they have the majority of members of parliament who can pass and lobby for oil prices, and they control the system. That's where the problem is. But on this particular one, it is a global crisis which I cannot pin on them.
Other jurisdictions have decided to look at it differently, and I'm going to give an example of what Ethiopia is doing. They started by ensuring that they build a new dam that is generating more power for them. And with that, then the government has decided intentionally to rework the city. You go to Addis today, and it's looking different. And with that as well, they've come up with a new transport system that is purely electric, and the government is investing in that. Why? Because they invested in power, so they have power to charge all these electric buses that they're putting into place. Should Kenya have a strategy around how they are looking into it, if we just look at what our neighbors are doing?
Yes, Kenya has a good law. The proposed Kenya Railways and Metropolitan Transport Act in 2027. I've looked at it very keenly. And if that is put into practice, I think the room for improvement could be there. And also, I do not want to blame the government very much on this particular issue, because Ruto inherited a bankrupt economy, and nobody's talking about how much money Kenyatta removed from this country during that particular time. Let's look at how we can return back that loot that was taken by the Kenyattas when they are leaving the administration. And let's also look at the loot that has been taken during Ruto's time, so that we can actually build up infrastructure and have a transportation system that works. The monies are there, but there is no brain to work on that monies, and everybody at the moment is actually tunneled into looting what is remaining. So I do not want to speak politics today, because I've got my NDC on Saturday, and that's why I'm a bit laid down. But we shall give our policies on that particular day. As we sit down here as Roots Party, are looking into a vibrant change of leadership in 2027, and we shall come in with the experiences we have from outside the world. We shall come in with policies, especially infrastructural policies that work, which we shall actually have a conversation with the Kenyans at large to see what is viable. For example, now, different areas in this country have different modes of transportation. If you go to the northern part of the country, obviously, we have traditional methods of transportation, like the donkey transportation, the camel transportation, and people walking, which is something that should be put under consideration. But our main aim is to stop people from coming into the city. We need people to work from where they are and to build on what they have. So just like what the Europeans are doing. Europeans don't move to major cities unless there is a necessity. The Chinese do the same. The Japanese do the same. If you look at the Japanese oil policy, you'll find out that 70% of Japanese oil policy is owned by the people. And people have a stake. They speak on. You cannot raise fuel, even if there's an international crisis in Japan, without involving the stakeholders or the owners of that particular. We, in Kenya, we are in a better position because we have lots of people who are even better than Japanese in terms of education. We can always sit down, educate our people, and actually tell them this is what we have, what you have to. There's our constitution guarantees liberties on economic development, and stakeholder economy is what we need. So, like the raising of the fuel, the government ought to have come up with some kind of software approach. We are in a crisis. There's a global issue going on. Don't worry, just bear with us. Oil prices are likely to rise up. It's that kind of laying the foundation ought also to have been, rather than just striking and putting 20% of increase on oil or 23.9 increase on oil without creating awareness. But anyway, it's a crisis. What do? We have actually to come out and look at it as Kenyans and say, look, what do we do? But when it's politicized, where politicians now come in and start now giving lies, like what I heard yesterday, some politician talking about that Kenya does not import oil from Iran, when the Strait of Hormuz has been blocked and ships cannot go through. Those kind of lies, we should not buy them.
Okay. All of these things that we look at seem, again, I'm still going back to the leadership issue. Is it time for then Kenyans, because we talk about whether it's infrastructure, we talk about development, we talk about the economy, we talk about debt, etc., that somebody ought to be leading the charge to sort out some of these things, and that it needs to be deliberate in terms of a push to get things moving. So is it then, almost clear to say that you then need to look towards leadership to change some of these things? If you want to change, have a change in leadership. Is it the formula that works?
That's why I'm running for president. And that's why I'm going to be a benevolent dictator.
Okay.
And that's why I'm going to put those people who have messed up this country to where it is today to answer with special tribunals. And I'm actually not afraid to say that we shall hang some of these people.
The crisis that the country finds itself in, like you've alluded to, you come to Nairobi, our transport system is different from what would be the same in what you'd find in the far-flung counties, right? Those who are still using donkeys. But in a country that is taking care of its people, should we look at a Kenyan policy when it comes to matters to do with transport, so that as we decongest Nairobi and we are expanding, say, Isiolo, for example, that we are taking parliament there, that the same transport system that Nairobi is enjoying is the same that people in Isiolo are enjoying, that there are no disparities because we are serving the people of Kenya. Should we have a Kenyan transport policy that caters for everybody?
No. We should create Kenya into 8 regions, 8 states, 8 state regions. And each region should actually take care of its own policies depending on the needs of those people. I've just been in a place in Nigeria known as Akwa Ibom State. The governor of Akwa Ibom was my classmate, schoolmate, let me put it that way. And what I saw in Akwa Ibom, I was like, wow, what is going on here? The Akwa Ibom policy on oil is not a federal. It does not emanate from the federal government, Nigerian federal government policy. The state itself is in the oil zone. It has its own policies. The people participate in whatever they want to do, and what have you. Like now, as I said before, Kenya needs to rejuvenate itself to its former glory, where we had 8 provinces, and each province should actually be given a monotomy in legislating on its own infrastructure. When we come to the national policy should actually be devolved, so that each and every state in Kenya at that particular time when we take over can actually have its own needs. Kisumu, for example, if we have Nyanza state within Kenyan Republic, and the people of Nyanza should sit down in their parliament in Kisumu and legislate on what kind of transportation needs they have, giving the fact that we have traditional methods. We have Lake Victoria, and also we have the trails that people have used for years. How do we go about what are the needs, what are the necessities, what are the logistics, where are the schools, where are the industries, what can we do for the needs of the people in that environment? So I believe in regional state-owned transportation system than government-owned. In the US, we have diversity, and you have also difference between the federal transportation system, which only touches on federal instruments like airports. And we also have state transportation system. Like the state of New York has its own transportation system, which has also been borrowed by the metropolitan city of London, where the mayor of London brought in the state of New York transport expert, to actually help transhape London metropolitan system, whereby the various companies were given an upper hand to apply to provide and to be controlled because of the government's stake in transportation system. But here, everything is mayhem. We have the Matatu Association. Everybody wants to speak. Everybody wants to hike their fares. People want to run run rowdy systems of transport. You get matatus with very loud music. Somebody has finished his job, he wants to go home, wants to talk to his family on the phone. You find that all that pollution is at the mercy of who? Therefore, all those things also should be taken into consideration.
Okay, so you talk about Nairobi, Kenya, essentially, in terms of its jurisdictional area, territory, in this case counties, to be collapsed and going back to the regional system that it was, essentially, because Kenya was split into 8 regions before. What are the benefits of that time that could then be experienced today, for which you're then proposing?
At that time, Kenya was a central government oriented. The provinces were buffer zones. But what we are proposing is that if we have Rift Valley as a republic, or as a state within the Republic of Kenya, with its state capital probably in Eldoret or Nakuru, then counties will remain in the region. Now, what will happen is we shall have county regional assemblies, municipalities, and state assemblies. If I may give you the example of Narok, what does Narok produce? Narok produces water, because it's a water catchment area. It produces wheat. It's a tourist catch. It produces meat, hides and skins, and human resource. Now, the revenue collected from those 5 areas that I've mentioned should be debated in Narok County Assembly, and then let there be a very clear dichotomy between the county assembly with the state assembly on management and revenue collection, whereby if Narok collects its revenue from what I've said, it can apportion a particular percentage to the state of Rift Valley for the state operations, and the state will now be having revenues from each counties, so that they can actually do a model to take what they need to develop what they have, and put the rest, send the rest to the federal government, the national government. Now, in Narok, if they take 40% revenue of what they have actually produced from their own state, then they can now come up and say, okay, what is it that we need to develop Narok? They can look into the priorities like hospitals, educational facilities, transportation, and then now, earmark monies for development without any other. They could have their own metropolitan colleges, and any county colleges like we have in the US, county police, county security system, county courts, county number plates. Like when I was in Akwa Ibom, you find the Akwa people saying, we are from Akwa, and if you look at the registration number plates of their vehicles, they are like, they are a symbol of nationalism to the people of Akwa. Narok could also have a say in that. But because they will be within the state, there will be a parameter between freeways, highways, and internal county roads, where monies will be distributed in accordance with the policies on instrumentalities. The same thing applies to the state council, the state parliament in Nakuru. And that way, we shall actually devolve functions to the counties and the state, and people will be in a position to make viable decisions rather than having a collective nation, whereby somebody in the coast wants to talk about transport, he has to wait for somebody in Nairobi to make that for him. That is not what we have in Roots Party. Our system will be develop properly. abolish this issue of CDF, where members of parliament are abusing the monies, abolish these issues of governors building mansions without accountability, abolish these issues of monies being given at funerals by governors without accountability. Let everybody be accountable, and that's why we shall have special state tribunals to try those who have messed up with the people's monies, like we have in China. In China, if you mess up, you'll be tried by the state's courts and the corrupt. That's why we don't have corruption in China and Greater Somalia in Africa. Those are the only two countries that will never hear of corruption. In Greater Somalia, you leave your monies there, and you can come tomorrow and find it the way you left it yesterday. We can do it in Kenya, if we can. So the will of the people should be devolved, and we should have a conversation whereby this issue of somebody, and I'm deviating a little bit because you didn't. I knew that you're not going to ask me. The issue of the bigger the population, the greater the power. You have 5 million votes. You have 3. No, let's have proportional representation, like what you have in Australia, so that a Mijikenda can also have a dream of becoming a president in this country. This issue of people coming up and saying, oh, we are the biggest in the country, we have more votes, that means the country will go through this main drain, because they are the same people owning transportation system, they are owning logistics system, they are owning the economy of this country. Nothing wrong with that. But then when it comes to control, we must have equitable political transitions into systems, so that a president becomes just ceremonial, but the people's power is actually from the grassroots.
So are you saying that in Kenya, at the moment, that the president has too much power?
Definitely, yes, he has. He has too much power. Every day, the president is appointing people. That should not be the prerogative of the president. Let's look at the Indian system. Let's look at the BJP and the Prime Minister of India, and the President, and the Constitution of India, and the Article 1 of the Constitution of India, which says India belongs to the Indian people wherever they are. Kenya belongs to the Kenyan people wherever they are. They can come in, invest and have rebate. But the President is given too much power by the Constitution, and that's why Roots Party came up and say that we shall do away with some part of the Constitution and go back to the people to ask the people what exactly we need. Too much executive power is not good. Even me as a president, incoming president, I wouldn't want to have everything. I would maybe do the Kibaki way, hands off, but let people do it. But let's put proper mechanism so that people can actually enjoy the freedoms that our forefathers fought for.
You've spoken about the eight state issue, which would be now devolution, 8 provinces. And with that, then one would look at what we already have, the 47 counties, and just ask the simple question, with the equitable share of revenue as well as the on-source revenue that they have, what is stopping these counties from implementing a transport system within their jurisdiction that works for them? Is it that we have a leadership that is not thinking outside the box, or is it that they do not have the interest of Mwananchi first?
Is a devolution on finance. That the governors' hands are tight. They have to wait for money to come from up down. I have a friend of mine who is the governor of Taita Taveta, Mwadime. He came in as an independent on independent ticket, and because he can't sing properly, Taita County, Taita Taveta. Do you ever hear about it or anything in Taita? They are starved completely because of the constitution that we have. We don't want counties to wait for money to come from up. We need counties to be the ones giving, but we need counties to be giving to the states, to have a proper constitutional mechanism that will make the state to be the epic center of development, and counties to be the resource center for those states. But under the circumstances, definitely governors will continue stealing, and once they have finished their 2 terms, they want to come back as senators so that they can now police corruption that they have been involved in. It's all myopic. And when Roots Party says that we shall change the constitution or do away with the constitution, people say, but where will we go? We can work with decrees. Yes.
Presidential decrees?
Yes, definitely, if I'm the president.
But you've just said that you want to take away power from a president.
No,
how would a president come in and now
when there's a
prefer
vacuum,
decrees?
When there's a vacuum, that time when there's a vacuum, whereby we are doing away with the constitution, we shall need a decree of transition during that particular time until Kenyans come up with the new proposals within a short framework so that we don't actually give the president too much powers for too long. Yeah.
Kenya has an implementation problem. Kenya has a behavioral problem when it comes to money in terms of expenditure. And unfortunately, this expenditure operation is in the hands of a few. The implementation metrics also is in the hands of a few. What would change that? Because if the things that you talk about need an implementation, and a lot of times you have a public service that moves from administration to administration, largely, how would you solve an implementation issue, even before we get to a debt one?
We cannot solve an implementation issue when corruption is topping the table. We need, first of all, to deal with the corruption, and then we come to implementation. We need also to involve men and women in uniform in the military in part of this. And my plan is, once we finish dealing with the corruption, I'll call in members of the army to work with civilians, to have that discipline. Yes. I mean, in Nigeria it happens.
In offices, in ministries?
Yes.
No, I'm saying, how would you do it in Kenya?
Yes. Which change the constitution, and you have members of the defense forces to come and work for the nation, because that is their prerogative. If you go to the US, there is also that policy where members of the armed forces are called to come and work with civilians. Things will be straight when you have them. In Nigeria, things are working now because the current systems in Nigeria has actually intervened members of the armed forces. In Uganda, the UPDF has parliament with members of the armed forces sitting with it. We need disciplined men in every sector of society.
I mean, one asks the question, if you look at the Constitution of Kenya 2010 today, you look at a constitution that describes how we should live with each other, what we ought to do. Chapter 6 of the Constitution is there. So we talk about a constitution that has medicine for our problems. Is our problem implementing the Constitution, or is our problem so bad that we need a new Constitution? If we implement the Constitution today, would we say that Kenya is headed on the right note?
First of all, what is that Constitution? The only important thing in that Constitution is the preamble, with the people. The Kenyan's Constitution is copy-paste. 269 pages, if I'm not wrong, approximately. Whereas the US Constitution is only 8 pages. 8 pages. It has only been amended 14 times in 760-something years of independence. If I may ask you, was this constitution constituted properly within the Kenyan population? Were people given enough time to understand what the constitution was? Was it translated in those vernaculars that people could read and understand what they were getting into? Or was it a political issue where we had the bananas and the oranges? Politicians going to say it will be like this. Like in Luo Nyanza, for example, whatever Raila said was the constitution. And it was indeed. Somebody will say, Raila Wachonango, when you took it to him. Raila Wachonango. If Raila has said it's okay, it's fine. The Luya people, my grandfather, if he was alive, wouldn't have known what a constitution is. This is a paper which is a process. It takes years to inject into the system. We ought to have gone step by step, and we would have had a transitional period of 15 years. The period we had, I think, was 1 year or 6 months, and then it came bam. And if you look at it, some parts of that constitution, it really talks well. It was copied from the US, UK, South Africa, and put together by experts who had no brains, bringing in people who do not understand the needs of the people on the ground. They have gone and they have come back, and then you see them clapping and handing over to the president. This is what you have collected. No. We had parliamentarians like Shikuku who had their own version. But if you see how the politicization of the constitutional formation was, it was just horrible. It was an elite constitution. We need people-driven constitution like what you have in India. India's constitution is divided into two, the Harijans and the Brahmins. And this is tailored alongside their religious beliefs, which they have accepted. where they say that the president of India will be a ceremonial president, but he must come from the Harijans, the underdogs, the black Indians, the untouchables. Whereas the prime minister must come from, depending on their religion, and people actually had lived with that religion for centuries in their own customary systems, and they accepted to be driven by their religious faith and what have you. And that's why you see, when you read and do research on subaltern studies and constitutionalism in India, you'll find out that India's constitution is the most basic instrument. Even hawkers have rights to run. It gives hawkers rights to elect themselves. It gives chaiwalas rights to elect their representative in local assembly. The current Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, was a chaiwala. He used to sell tea on the streets. And he used to fight for tea sellers on how to get clean water, tax rebate, milk, and that's why they elected him to the regional local assembly. From there, he became the chief minister of the state, and from there, he became the prime minister of India. And you can see how the Indian people have transitioned into who they are today. Now, if you look at the Chinese constitution is based on communism. We masses, we own. China belongs to us. But in Kenya, it has become individualistic, where you get a politician wanting to cut off land everywhere. You go to National Park, mashamba iko hapo. Ukienda huku, unaiba kila kitu. That is why I'm saying these people, let's give them a short period. When we take over, they will all be answerable.
Okay.
So hii constitution yetu, I still say, wengine wataniambia atu wewe ujui, tutafanya nini? I have 17 degrees. Recently, I just wrote my book, which is celebrated in Congress, which is being used as a reference in the Congressional Committee on Immigration. I'm a Kenyan. I'm a proud Kenyan. Now, if there is brain drain and brain drain, now when we come back here, people don't want to utilize us because they think that we know better than they do. Give us a chance. We build the country, not you. But if you are giving me a job to come and build you with your ego, so stay with it. And that's why we are talking to Kenyans and saying, wait, persevere, time will come, let us sit down, let us see what we can do for this country. But if you want, we can continue. If you don't want, remain in poverty, remain in corruption, remain that way. It will have nothing to do with me.
Do you think, based on what you've just said, and even as we wind this down, there are currently conversations around changing the way things happen, and that means that people would have to come together? Would you work with other political factions? Would you work with other people and say, well, maybe if I wouldn't be president, perhaps that we can come together to ensure that these policies, so you would be open to working with other groups of people?
Mwangi has just been in here. He's invited me for his NDC. I've invited him. If Ruto wants us to work together, we shall work. This nation is bigger than us. The current system that we have, pegged on your question, the current crop of politicians we have today are the blame politicians. Everyone wants to be the president. Number two, some of these fellows have not come up to sit together like we are sitting today to have a conversation on developing this country. They have not come up with a blueprint. I did ask them after Raila's death, my so-called friends in the opposition. I said, okay, here we are. Can we have a secretariat? And can each and every political party contribute its views towards this secretariat? And can we thereafter have a committee of experts to work on a paper so that we can actually start a conversation with Kenyans? You know what they told me? Kwenda huko wewe hujui. But most of them sit, and I'm not blaming them, wanakaa mahali usiku, mchana, wanaongea, wakitoka hivyo, wakiwa kwa hiyo conference wanasema mimi nitakuwa minister, wewe utakuwa speaker, wewe utakuwa hivi. Alafu in the evening they are on top of the vehicle abusing Ruto. I have no business abusing Ruto. Ruto is the president of this country. I could also be in the same shoes. Would I like to be abused? No. Ruto's children were with me in Kenya School of Law. Nick was my schoolmate in Kenya School of Law. If I meet with Nick and have been abusing his father, how will it be? So they have individualized the political system. So what is the difference between them and Ruto that we want to remove? Let us come up with a consensus. If the president wants, we are still here. We can sit down and say, okay, this country is greater than us. Can we work out a formula regardless of who is going to be the president? And I will say yes. But I'm not going just to run like a headless chicken because I'm lying to the people I'll do better, yet I cannot give up. This ambition is what's killing us. If somebody came in and said, Professor, can we work as a team? So long as it's doable and it's understandable, we shall work for this nation.
Okay.
I need to go to Rift Valley to campaign.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go to Nyanza, to Kikuyu to campaign. But now if there is this mathematics of lete yako, we cannot go into that hierarchy of numbers, tribalism. I say no. And that's why today I'm sitting down and said, had I run back into this is what I will be saying today. And that's why I remained neutral. I am neutral. There's one term this way and two terms. I'm the one, whoever is satisfied this way can come this way.
This other side can come this way.
If Ruto wants us to talk, we can talk. There's nothing wrong with that.
Professor George Wajakoya is the Root Party leader, and the NDC is coming up on Saturday. There probably will be a lot more that we'll hear coming after that. Thank you for coming. There are many things that have come out today, and we really appreciate you sharing a lot of those insights. Looking forward to the next time, but also what will come out of all of this.
Please allow me something about my NDC.
Let's go.
I've invited everybody.
Okay.
I've invited all the political leaders in the opposition, and I've also invited the government.
Okay.
We need to sit down and let them come and air their views.
Okay.
That's why we are taking neutrality. Thank you.
It's a different kind of NDC where everybody from other parties are invited to this one.
Yes.
All right. Good morning.
Even the president.
I'm going to pass 9.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is the news. I'm Sheila Tembor. The government has intensified Ebola preparedness measures following an outbreak in the DRC and Uganda, although the Ministry of Health confirms that no cases have been detected in Kenya. In a statement, Health CS Aden Duale said Kenya has activated its national response system through the Kenya National Public Health Institute to prevent importation and ensure rapid detection and response. He noted that surveillance has been strengthened at airports, seaports and land borders, with more than 34,500 travelers screened so far. The WHO has declared the outbreak a public health emergency of international concern, while the Africa CDC has classified it as a high-risk event. The ministry says laboratory testing, surveillance and emergency response systems have also been reinforced across counties to ensure national preparedness. Duale has urged the public to remain calm, saying the country's systems are well equipped to detect and respond to any potential case. Deputy President Kithure Kindiki is expected to visit Machakos County today to launch the construction of the Miscellany Mwaura Road. The project will link the road to the ongoing Kivandini Miscellany Road, easing transport and boosting business between residents of Mwala constituency, Matungulu and Kangundo constituencies. Once completed, it will also connect to the Thika Oldonyo Sabuk Road, improving travel between Machakos and Kiambu counties. And the United Opposition has postponed its planned visit to Meru County, which was set to begin today, citing uncertainty over fuel price situation. Here is the PNU leader, Peter Munya.
We have decided to reschedule our United Opposition rallies. We have decided to push them determined dates, so therefore our rallies will start on the 4th of June to the 8th of June. Still have the number of days we had intended to traverse the Meru County selling our policies as United Opposition. So it is unfortunate, but we think that we need to give time for those negotiations that are going on to resolve the issue of fuel prices. We have been told will take place within 1 week. That's why we have pushed our meetings to 2 weeks, hoping that the matters will be resolved by that time.
Munya also accused the government of ignoring the concerns of Kenyans, saying the ongoing challenges are fueling political divisions.
We have a government that is totally out of touch with the reality that the Kenyan people are facing. Totally out of touch. That's why you see them traveling. When the country is in a crisis, you are busy traveling to other countries. When you see a government where every strategic asset is being sold, being mortgaged, even fuel levy that was repairing roads was utilized to borrow loans. The debts that have been accumulated have never been repaid. Taxes are going down, businesses are closing, and it has an audacity to increase fuel in that kind of a situation. Then you really don't have a government worth the name. So it's a clueless government, and in fact what we are afraid of is the country may go into a bigger crisis before the next election, because we intend to get them out in the coming elections.
And that's the news. I'm Sheila Tembor.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
We look at the utterances of leaders who are aligned to broad-based, who are initially in ODM. We thought they stand for something. Now they've been exposed.
Because we are a third world country, we are poor. And not because we don't have resources, but we have been robbed senseless.
Look at the wasteful expenditure. Look at how large government lives. And we've said this is something that can be controlled. It happens in many other countries.
Internally, we used to stand and tell him, boss, hii kitu ni mbaya. And you'd say, now he doesn't let me tell you, you saw the other parliamentary group meeting, people went there, sat, listened, looked at him, there was no plenary, left.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
You have land, Dennis. Okay, your own land. You use your own money to build it, and then you sell it to yourself.
But we don't want foreign troops on Kenyan soil.
But surely it goes a little bit deeper. This is it.
If you find the tree is withering, then you call the person who is managing that tree. Come around.
Yeah,
Why don't tell me what is
first of all, what's the problem?
Yes, what is the problem there?
How do we expect ourselves to move forward as a country?
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
He is himself actually has admitted that he bribed members of parliament. So
he admitted that he bribed members of parliament.
Well, when he said
the government,
when he said that he gave the 10 million was for what?
We're always quick to point faults in somebody else before you look at your own faults as a person.
If it was Kanu's day, hii amuka naye leo ungekuwa umeenda bali sana hii. So when we must celebrate you.
There are 600 million people now globally estimated to be living with diabetes in the world. So it is a major health problem. It's the largest single disease rising pandemic that we're dealing with right now.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature.
And our conversations continue this morning. I mean, here it is, and I think we had one name mentioned in two conversations already. But we continue with those conversations this morning in the Situation Room. It's 8 minutes after 9 o'clock. Our live streams are still up, and this hour, Eric Omondi joins us in the studio, and he's in the hot seat this morning. And just know that he's been extremely busy, but then has an opportunity to come here this morning to then speak and have a conversation around certain things this morning, because we're still dealing from a point of view whereby certain things need to be spoken about. Certain things cannot be left to go. Activism for change, representing the Mwananchi's voice, which is something that he has been doing. Eric, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you guys?
Very well.
Thanks for having me again.
Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Good to see you.
Yes.
Your voice has not been silenced.
Yes.
The last time we saw you, I was a bit worried because you were walking to Mombasa.
Yes.
And
do not do that.
No.
Use other means.
Use the bus, train, or fly.
Yeah, fly.
Yeah. Okay, we'll talk about, all of things relating to that in just a little bit. Dennis is going to welcome you with today's proverb, but then we'll get into this.
Okay.
Today we are in Gabon. Part of the Congo Basin, which is big in terms of the forest cover that they do have. It's only second to the Amazon. But the proverb that we get today from Gabon, no matter how long the log stays in water, it never becomes a crocodile. How would you interpret it?
No matter how long
a log
stays
in water,
it
never becomes a crocodile.
How would I translate that? You know me, now I'm a poet. I'm a creative. So I have to put it into context. Or I think that simply means we cannot lie to ourselves. The truth will always be the truth. And people rarely change.
Wow.
Well said. Well said.
That last bit, people rarely change.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
That's where it's at.
Yeah. If it's a log, it's a log, my friend.
It's a log.
Too.
Wow. Okay. Dennis has gone to Nyoka, but okay. Activism for change. It's interesting that you said that people rarely change. And so if we're saying that representing the Mwananchi's voice, to say that certain things need to change, one of the things that you've been involved in, and even before these fuel prices, we knew that they were going to go up, then they went up. Rocky, maybe we didn't know they were going to go up by the margin that they did. But they went up, and we knew that there was going to be a strike, and we knew that people were not going to be able to afford transport. You came out and you said, come on, one thing that we must do is reject this, it, and say, protest against it. And in the rejection of it means that they'll be forced to reduce the prices, but beyond that, take the people's condition into consideration. But then you've also just said this morning that people rarely change. The likelihood of them changing the position towards the people of Kenya is slim. So how do you do both of those things in the same space?
You do your best and you hope for the best, but they might not, or they will not change, because you see, they increase, and then when they reduce, we applaud them. We say, hey, we wamefanya kazi nzuri, reduce fuel, but then aliongeza. But then again, after 30 days, they'll surely increase. You understand? So that's what they've been doing. It's just a vicious circle. But every time they increase, it goes a notch higher. So such that if they increased by 30 bob and then they reduce by 10 bob, we celebrate. And then they increase by 50 bob and then they reduce by 5 bob, we celebrate. So it just keeps going higher. So we will keep. That's why we must be consistent and we must be persistent with the fight against what may basically I call it's some sort of impunity from their side. We have to keep fighting because that's the only way. We are getting closer. We're getting closer to next year.
You know, Eric, when you talk about even the increase that you're talking about, I choose not to call it a reduction. Why? Because you increased it by 46, you reduce it by 10, it's still an increase of 30 something, 38 shillings. It is not a decrease.
We're talking about the
fuel, the reason fuel, right? It's
the reduction yesterday.
It was a reduction of 10 shillings, but it increased by 40 something. So it's still an increase of 30. You get what I mean? So it's a mind game that is being played out there. But that notwithstanding, with all this, would you reckon at any given point when the leadership of the country who've been donated this power to lead ever think about the people who voted for them?
No. Never, ever. And it goes way back to 1963. Unfortunately, we've not had leaders in this country. We've only had politicians. There are very few or none. We have people politic, people who are opportunists from independence. It's been a generation of corruption, tribalism, nepotism, deceit. It's been a generation of politics. And that's why we are calling upon this new generation that is woke to now give us leaders. People who think and fight for the country. There's this culture of grabbing and stealing and hoarding and increasing and suffocating and just milking. That's the political culture in Africa and specifically in Kenya. So I think this generation needs to go. The entire generation, and they know themselves. These people who fight today and are in bed tomorrow and in coalitions next week and wamekosana leo. It's the same family, it's the same generation, it's the same university, it's the same school, it's the same family. So I think we need a change of guard. We need a new generation, and it's here. The generation is here. And they're the ones who are fighting now. They're very woke, they know what they want, and they're going for it, and they will get it. And we are getting closer, we're getting nearer to the goal, to the finish line, and we will finish the job. We are going to have a new set of leaders and not politicians. It will happen. It will happen.
In Kenya's current state, is it possible to have leaders who come into government to sort out things who are not politicians?
Yes, it's possible.
How so?
That, you see now, our target right now, before we get to the presidency, is the parliament. Because our biggest problem is the parliament. They're the ones who have put us in this trouble. The president just signs. Either they have been hoodwinked, bought, or owned by the executive. So our plan is to clean that house, to get them out, to paint their house, clean it, just do whatever. We need, there's a spirit in that house, that we need to deal with. So we need to first ensure that every MP, apart from the very few, we know them. They're not even more than 4. The rest need to go. So then we have the power to decide. It's not the presidency. If the parliament decides that fuel prices are not going up, we're not going to pass this and this finance bill. It is the parliament. So we are calling upon young people, Gen Zs. Those are two generations, and even millennials. Young people, Gen Zs, to take up leadership. They've been singing it since 2024. That we will remember those who passed finance bill. They should never go back. Once we clean up the parliament, we have the power is back with the people, and we clean up with leaders, not politicians. And we know them and we can vet them.
For a very long time, it's been a question of Mwananchi is being talked at, kuskiza, you have no voice. We will go sit in our cocoon, in our corners, in our PG meetings and decide for you. All you have to do is to give taxes and follow that which we have said. But to look at a different set of Wananchi today, where for a very long time as well, it's been said that we do not like police officers, and all that. But yesterday, Kenyans showed up for one police officer and said, what's his mistake? Let him go. He's not eaten, we'll feed him. He's not okay, we'll make sure.
If he needs bail, we'll pay.
We're looking at a different set of Wananchi who are saying, this is our country and we will have it run as per our wishes. Have the political class realized that things have changed?
I like what you've said. And just to connect it to what I just said, there's a new generation. It's not coming, it's here. We can see the standard walking nation. I'm seeing thousands, you come in the millions of people walking. So you can end up walking nation. Job. They are not. They are walking in protest. They are people. They are not leaders or politicians. So they are taking charge. So if you are a politician or a leader in this country and are listening to my voice today on SpiceFM, woe unto you if you do not listen. If they don't reduce the fuel prices, it will not be business as usual. It will not be business as usual. We've seen that last year but one. We saw what happened to 2024. It happened 2 days ago. It will happen again. It will not stop because the people have taken back the power. They say the people shall. So nothing is going to change in terms of people taking charge. People have woken up, and they are going for change, and they will settle for nothing less. That I can assure any politician who's listening. If I were you, I would be very wise and listen. First of all, if you're in a position to reduce the price of fuel, please do it yesterday. Because don't think at the Chata of Matatu zimerudi kwa streets. Yes, there it is. We would wink them. There's a gentleman who defined the politics as a few organized individuals controlling millions of disorganized individuals. That's politics. Just a few organized controlling 56 million disorganized. Now they're getting organized. Oh, Kitengela. Oh, you know, it may look organic, but it's not. Me, I've driven past what was people saying, wase, kesho, tuende watu makonda mtaenda huku, madere mtaenda huku. They're getting organized to take back power because the power belongs to the people. And such small things like fuel, ni vitu mbaya sana. Do not touch. Let me ask you, who uses kerosene? I know you don't use kerosene.
A lot of people do. A lot of people do.
A lot. The masses.
Yeah.
My grandmother, see at Yana steamer, but she uses it on her stove. He had to cook. So now you have increased
38 shillings.
On kerosene.
Yes.
And decreased
10 shillings.
On diesel. What have you done? You've injured the masses. You understand? What have you done? And as you've said, it has increased by 30. Fuel has gone up by 30 bob. Fuel has gone up by 30 bob.
Yeah.
Fuel has gone up by 30. And we saw those 3 individuals. Who are those people?
Which ones specifically? There were a number of individuals.
I don't even know their names. Who are those? They were speaking on whose behalf?
I see what you mean.
The ones who are declaring. You see, there was the Matatu strike,
Yes.
which they have the right to call off. They are the owners of Matatu. But there was the national standoff. We were calling it shutdown. Those are 2 different things. You, if you want me, I've driven my car here. I could have chosen to take an online taxi or a border or walk. It's my choice. So that's their choice.
Yeah.
But we are saying we are still going to call for total shutdown until the fuel prices go down. And we saw their body language. They were very happy. They were actually more than, they were like babies. They're like, yes, hey, yes, we are calling off. We are calling off. We are calling off, and you've respected us. Yeah? We can what to see wajinga. People, it is the current president who came up with that phrase. Kenya wajinga waliisha. The people are very smart and woke. We know easy tunatanga games at town. So, and by the way, if I may just say something, we don't have to discuss it. I am personally, after yesterday, beginning to believe strongly that they are using fuel to distract us from the finance bill, which is being passed on 25th of this month. That is less than a week.
Why would they do that?
Because within that finance bill are issues they don't want Kenyans to see, read, understand, or even talk about. Did you know that if the finance bill passes, the government will have power to get into your M-Pesa without even informing you? Ni kama fuliza inaingia, hey, hiyo 4K imeenda wapi? Wataikata. KRA will do it. So I'm beginning to strongly believe that it's all an act to get us carrying jerry cans to town, get us talking, get us arresting OCS, reduce fuel prices. So Kenyans, if you're listening to me, run now and read the Finance Bill 2026. That is the elephant in the room. That is where they're distracting us from. It is a distraction, trust me. It is a distraction. There are issues there about land. You will no longer own land. You will no longer own land. Yeah? So the fuel price hike is it's a distraction. I 100% believe that.
So if you're saying that, essentially what you're saying, then it's very possible, if it's a distraction, let's play in that realm for a minute. If it is a distraction, clearly, and that, then it's very possible for those prices to come down. That they, wiggle around and say, okay, actually, you know what? Let's have it sub 200 shillings.
After the finance bill passes, they're like, you know what? We did this. Have you seen what's happened in America? It's back to normal. Yay! Hey, what's happening to my M-Pesa? What's going on? Which court are you running to? I believe 150% after yesterday. I saw those gentlemen laughing there and jittering and I believe strongly that it's a hoax. It's a hoax to distract us from the finance bill. Go read it.
And Eric, you see, we're talking about a political class that is being smart, we will distract them if that's the position. We will know how to fix them where we want them to be. It's therefore clarion call that the politics of the country and selecting leadership, or even those who are running, it can't be left to those who've been there before. It is about time that Kenyans took it up for themselves and not say politics is a dirty game, we will stay away. If we want to change it, we must be
involved.
So is this then a clarion call for Kenyans not to just vote for a party, but ask the most difficult questions? This is our problem as constituency X, and we want you as a member of parliament to give us your plan on how you will address this, so that it is our agreement with you. If you don't, Nideni.
I think it was on this hot seat, if I remember clearly, that I said we are going to rally young people and Kenyans for 2027, and we're going to be extremely clear. We are going to gather and rally masses when it comes to elections, and we're going to talk to people on who is a politician and who is a leader, because by now we know. This will go down to the MCA. We'll tell them we even know the body language. We even know the tonal variation. We can see them. Wamama oye. Wababa oye. Arambe. Niseme nisiseme. Nitoboe nisitoboe. Na wacha niwaambie kitu moja. Sisi sio kama wale. Na wale ndio nyinyi. Lakini nyinyi sio sisi, ama namna gani? We even know the language. That is a politician. The tongue. We have studied them. You see, there's a joke I used to do, and I used to say when I was doing stand-up comedy, that Obama is not a politician. He's a leader, because when he speaks, he actually gives you facts. Obama comes and says, he gives you numbers. If you look at, do what we are going to do this with the economy. Before I came into office, there were this million jobs. Now there are this million jobs. But hawa watu wetu ni toboe nisitoboe. Si nyinyi mnajua venye tulisema. Si tutafanya hivyo. Lakini tutaongea bwana. We know that language. We are going to, let me tell you what's going to happen. Now let me speak like a prophet.
Okay.
We are going to take up leadership here. That's number one. And then we're going to change a few things. I keep saying this because one day it will be pulled from the library. We are going to change Kenya by, first of all, getting rid of its cancers, the cancers that are eating this country.
What are those?
The biggest cancer eating. President Ruto just found himself in the wrong generation. He inherited a system that is now eating him up. It's not even the issue. He just inherited a corrupt system. So the biggest cancer that Kenya is eating up Kenya is called devolution, number one.
Devolution is a bad thing according to you?
It's the worst thing.
It was agreed on in the constitution by a majority of Kenyans. It was agreed to.
Yes.
There was a referendum that agreed that the constitution, essentially a referendum was, you vote to change the law.
The idea
Kenyans
was
agreed.
Superb. The idea was excellent. Devolve education, devolve health. They ended up devolving corruption and theft. There are no medicine in county hospitals. The idea was superb. Let me tell you why devolution is the biggest cancer eating this country. And we are going to take leadership, and we're going to go into a referendum, and we're going to strike it as the first thing. It's not killing Kenyans. Right now, the fuel prices are up, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So we need to cushion Kenyans. I told you on this chair, Kenyans are the most overrepresented citizens on the globe. One Kenyan is represented by 18 people. He has a president. He has a deputy president. He has a prime cabinet secretary. He has a governor. He has a deputy governor. He has a senator. He has a women rep. He has an MP. He has an MCA. He has a regional commander. He has it's called what? Whatever it's called, Nikama district, the former. He even has a village, a village chief, even a village elder. When I was doing Sisi, one of the things that I encountered on the ground, and I told you guys last time, we went to Kisii to build a bridge in a place called Nyabisa. We built it. We built it. But there was war for the 3 months amongst the residents. We're just building and there's war behind me. Hii ni kazi ya MCA. Atumpeke hapana wewe. Hii ni kazi ya MP. You guys, you don't know what you're talking about. This is the work of the governor. The bridge is the work of the national. Whose work is it? We are so overrepresented, don't know who is doing what. There is a deputy governor in 2023 who said he doesn't know his work.
Yeah. Yes.
He reads the newspaper and he waits for the governor to maybe
talk to him that day.
Tell him, hey, I'm not feeling well. Can you go to represent me in that meeting? Yes. Hello. Now he gets into the car. Now he has a job. That guy earns more than 1.5. Na tujaongeza nini? What is the work? With all due respect to my mom, because I know she doesn't like when I talk about this. What is the work of the women rep? Show me or tell me one women rep who has done anything remarkable, tangible, memorable in this country. Even 2024, there was, when you were going on the streets, one of the issues was the sanitary pads were being taxed.
Yes.
Do you know it was a man who called it out and saw it? A man. We are going to strike out women reps. We're going to strike out Senate. We're going to strike out. Yes. Let me start with Senate.
Eric.
Yes. We're going to strike out. It will happen. Women rep. Okay. We're going to strike out.
So the people you're getting rid of, women rep so far.
Women rep.
You said devolution, the entire.
It's gone.
Okay. I want to come back to the devolution thing, but let's go to the people that you're getting rid of.
Number 1, women rep, gone. Number 2, the entire Senate, gone. Number 3, nominated. Who are those?
Nominated who?
Nominated senators, nominated MPs, nominated MCAs. They don't have a JOD. They have a constituency. They earn the same salary. They're political. And then we're going to get rid of the 47 counties and revert to the 8, the former 8.
This is very interesting today because coming in from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, people seem to be saying the same thing.
Yes.
Let's hang people who have stolen. Let us get rid of things. Let's be radical in terms of a change. 2 people followed each other and said that people should be hung. Now 2 people are following each other and saying we should go back to Kenya, should go back to 8 provinces because this 47 thing is not working.
It's not working. All the money. Have you seen stadiums being built in counties? There was one that was built in Samburu. Where was that? At over 359 million. It looks like an M-Pesa kiosk. Ilikuwa tu, it's online. Go see it. So, if we do away with the 47 governors, how much money have we saved? If you do away with all the 47 senators, how much? If you do away with the women rep?
Because there's 1 per county, yeah.
That money is enough to provide free actual.
No, 1 per constituency. I beg your pardon. Yeah.
Devolution is our biggest cancer.
Is devolution the cancer as a principle?
Yes.
Or is it the practice of devolution that is cancerous in the nature of its operation?
That's what I'm telling you. The idea was superb. We had to devolve services. We devolved corruption.
So devolution as an idea, there's nothing wrong with it.
Nothing.
If anything, it is progressive.
It's supposed to help to bring money.
But the problem is the people. So would you not then say if you change the people, you solve the problem?
No. You see why I'm reducing the number of counties? I will repeat again. I'll keep saying this until Kenyans get it. How many Americans are there?
Around 200 million.
350 million. Yeah, 350 million.
350 million Americans. Yeah. How many Kenyans do you have?
55 million.
55 million. Do you know?
There we go. Okay.
That America with 350 million citizens only have 50 governors. Kenya with only 55 million have 47. wametushinda na 3.
They have 50 states. It's the federal system now.
Texas. Texas is a what? A state.
It is. Yeah.
Kenya goes into Texas 1.5 times. It is led by a governor. Texas is twice, let me say twice the size of this country. It is led by a governor. We are overrepresented. We just need 8 governors to run the 8. So we've not killed devolution. We just need 8 governors to run the 8 counties. Pwani County, Rift Valley County, Nyanza County, Western County, Northeastern County. Just one governor. Let them now the deputy governor will work. Now he'll work. He will not be they are seated in the office. I will send you. Okay. I will send you money now. Tell me the name of the deputy governor of Nairobi. Let's start with the capital. 10,000. Let's start with the capital city. Who is the deputy governor of Nairobi? I have your number. I'll send it. I'm not talking about Samburu or Mandera or Wajir. I'm talking about Nairobi.
Yeah.
The capital. Tell me the name of the deputy governor of Nairobi.
Sad. Don't think it.
Let's just Google. I'll Google.
Your point is clear. Your point is made, Eric. Because I go back to Kisi, where you talk about this bridge being built and people then conflating issues about who is supposed to do the job. Is that the problem? Could that be the problem, where there's a selection of folks for positions whereby we don't even know what they're supposed to be doing? Yes. Then how is it that you say you're going to work out whether it's democracy that you want to choose, whether it's progression of the economy, whether it's development, whatever it is that you want to do? If you don't know who's supposed to be doing what, overrepresentation is an issue that has been brought up severally. Would that be the key that would unlock this door that folks have been looking for to open for the longest time?
Yes, we need to define roles, reduce roles, and then we'll get it right. We need to reduce roles and then define.